Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto has 12 wings part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. For failure to retrieve Sasuke, Uchiha Naruto Uzumaki are hereby banished, declared a smug-looking civilian from his position next to the Hokage. Naruto just looked down as a tear slid from his eye. Having heard all of the testimony and the fact that Tsunade was too close to Naruto to intervene, he knew deep down that he was going to be banished. "You can't do this," declared Jiraiya from behind Naruto. "You will have until tomorrow to have handed in your headband and left," declared the same civilian council, ignoring Jiraiya's comment. Naruto turned around and walked out of the room with his head down. Most of the clan heads watched the boy leave with sad looks on their faces before silently glaring at the civilians. Jiraiya sent a quick look to Tsunade, who nodded slightly to him, knowing exactly what he wanted to do and agreeing entirely, and with that the white-haired Sannin left the room to follow Naruto. Jiraiya caught up to Naruto rather quickly and clasped a hand on his shoulder, making the blonde look up to the man. "Oh, Ero Sannin, what's up?" questioned Naruto, wiping the tears from his eyes. "I know this is tough, Naruto, but Tsunade and I need to talk with you before you go, and I know you're probably going to take off before tomorrow, so just come by Tsunade's office before you go, okay?" said Jiraiya, getting a nod from his young blonde former apprentice. Naruto then turned and solemnly walked out of the building. When Naruto stepped out onto the street, he quickly jumped to the roofs, not wanting to see the sneering faces of the Konoha populace. 5 minutes later, Naruto had roof-hopped all the way home. As he walked up to the door, he saw that the door was once more busted. Walking into his home, to his prediction, the place had been ransacked. Walking past the broken remnants of his furniture, the blonde walked into his bedroom. Thankfully, he saw, after pushing chakra to his eyes, that the seal he had made when he was younger to contain all of his important belongings was still fine and intact. Naruto walked over to the wall where his bed had used to reside. On putting his hand on a random part of the wall, he pushed chakra to his hand, and like that, a bag of his most precious possessions, a cross necklace that Hiruzen said was found with him as a baby. Naruto had never worn it because he was scared someone would steal it. Also in the bag was a picture of him at the age of 7, Tuchi, Iruka and Hiruzen at the benches in Ichiraku Ramen, Tuchi and Im behind the counter, Hiruzen and Iruka on the seats, and Naruto standing between his brother and grandfather figure. A second picture with Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Shizen, with the four of them looking like a family. Jiraiya and Tsunade standing behind Naruto and Shizen. Jiraiya with an arm slung over Tsunade's shoulder and a hand on Naruto's, while Tsunade had a hand on Naruto's shoulder and the other on Shizen's. Then the third picture, him with Anko and Tenten, the three of them outside the Forest of Death simply holding hands, him in the middle, and then Naruto's fourth and final picture, his class photo of him and his graduating class before Mizuki had been assigned as Iruka's assistant, so thankfully he was lacking from the photo. Then also in the bag were several presents he'd gotten as birthday presents: a dog fawn necklace, a shogi board, a couple of scrolls, and several other things. Naruto tossed the bag on his back before walking out to the kitchen to load up his back with food. As he put his other foods, aka not ramen, which had been sealed, and scrolls hidden in seals at the back of cupboards much like his bag, the blonde heard his door opened. "Ototo?" came the voice of Tenten. "In here, Nachan," said Naruto sadly. "Why are you sad, Naruto?" questioned Tenten. "And why are you packing your good food and are you running away?" questioned Tenten. Naruto shook his head. "No, I have been banished," declared Naruto. "Banished? What the hell for?" questioned Tenten. "Because I didn't bring Sasuke back," said Naruto. "What the hell, that's the stupidest reason I've ever heard. Stay here, Ototo, there has to be a way to fight this. Wait, I know we could speak with Tsunade-sama," stated Tenten. "She and I are too close. The council has stripped her of her authority in the matter. She can't do anything," said Naruto. "So you're just going to accept this?" questioned Tenten, not believing what she was hearing. "Yes, Nachan, there is nothing I can do, nor is there anything anyone else can do," said Naruto. "Then let me come with you," spoke Tenten. "No, you have a life here, a good life. I can't let you throw that away for me," declared Naruto, glaring at Tenten. "Please, Nachan, this is why I didn't want to say goodbye to anyone. They will make it harder to leave," said Naruto. "When are you going to leave?" questioned Tenten. "Later tonight," declared Naruto, looking down. "I guess I should leave you to your packing. Bye, Ototo," declared Tenten, walking out of the room. 20 minutes later, Naruto, having finished packing his things, walked to his door and opened it, looking back into the building one last time. Naruto sighed before closing the door behind him and locking it. With a heavy sigh, Naruto turned and took off for the Hokage's tower. 5 minutes later, Naruto walked into the tower with his bag strapped to his back and walked up the stairs and straight into the Hokage's office where Tsunade sat behind her desk with Jiraiya and Shizen standing behind them. Naruto, said Tsunade, making the blonde look up at her. Naruto, sit down, this is going to be a long conversation, and no matter how angry you get I ask that you let us finish what we're going to say, okay? Questioned Tsunade, getting a nod from Naruto as he sat down on the seat opposite her. It'd be you leave us, declared Tsunade, then 4 sections of the room blurred before vanishing. Naruto, Jiraiya and I began Tsunade. We're your godparents, declared Jiraiya, shocking Naruto. Why? Questioned Naruto. Both Tsunade and Jiraiya didn't need an explanation. We were both told you were dead, that's why I wanted you as my apprentice so I could teach you and maybe make up for my absence, but that plan is no longer on the table. I'm so sorry, Naruto, said Jiraiya, looking down in shame, as was Tsunade. Bachan, Ero-san, muttered the young blonde, making both of them look up only for Naruto to walk forwards and hug the two of them. Quickly snapping out of their shock, both Sannin hugged their godson. The three parted after several minutes, revealing all three had tears in their eyes. Being banished now gives us the opportunity to reveal some information that would have only been revealed to you when you reached a certain age if you had stayed, said Tsunade, drawing a confused look from the blonde boy in front of her. Naruto, your parents were Minato Yellow Flash Namikaze and Kushina Crimson Devil Uzumaki, declared Tsunade. My dad was the Yondaime? Questioned Naruto, getting a nod from the two Sannin. Yes, your father was the Yondaime Hokage and your mother was Princess of Yuzusho, said Jiraiya. Yuzusho? Questioned Naruto. It's a country just east of the Land of Waves, the ancestral homeland of the Uzumaki clan. It was attacked by Kiri, Kumo, and Iwa in the Third Shinobi War, and officially the Uzumaki clan were wiped out in the attack, but Kushina seemed adamant that they were still alive, but no one has seen them since the attack, said Tsunade. This is everything from your parents' house, Naruto, along with a pair of letters that they left for when you were to be told about them, said Jiraiya, placing a pair of scrolls and a pair of sealed envelopes on the table. Naruto tentatively took them all, however, rather than opening them, he put them in his bag. This is just a couple of things I want to give you, Naruto, as an apology of not being around for you and for letting them banish you, declared Tsunade, handing the blonde another scroll. There was nothing you could do in either situation, said Naruto, not taking the scroll. I don't care, I still feel guilty. Please, Naruto, take the scroll, said Tsunade. Naruto nodded and took the scroll, adjoining the others in his bag. This is the same sort of thing from me, said Jiraiya, passing Naruto yet another scroll which Naruto put in his bag. Is there anything else? I'm not trying to be mean, I just want to be gone before word gets around that I am going, said Naruto. I will try to overrule the banishment, Naruto, I promise you that, but I don't know if I'll be successful, said Tsunade, getting a thankful nod from Naruto. Look, Gaki, if you ever need my help, don't be afraid to reach out, I will always be ready to help you, said Jiraiya, getting a nod and a smile from Naruto. If that's all, I guess this is goodbye, said Naruto, standing up and walking forwards and quickly hugging a crying Shizen. Watch over them for me, Shizune, whispered Naruto, getting a nod from the crying woman as she hugged Naruto back. Tsunade was the next one to get a hug. Naruto, after stepping back from Shizen, walked over and hugged his godmother. Please don't drink yourself to death, Bachan, said Naruto, tears threatening to spill from his eyes. Tsunade squeezed Naruto tight. I'll try not to, whispered the crying blonde Sannin. Good, said Naruto, stepping back from the hug, before walking over to Jiraiya, who yanked him into a hug. Take care of yourself, Gaki, declared Jiraiya. You too, Jiraiya-sensei, said Naruto, whispering his name. Once the two parted, Naruto picked up his back and slung it over his shoulder, and walked to the door. Please tell everyone I'm sorry for leaving without saying goodbye, I just couldn't face everyone, said Naruto, getting a nod from the blonde-haired Kage. Take care, Naruto, said Tsunade. You too, Tsunade-sama, declared Naruto, as he walked out of the room. Naruto walked out into the village as the sun was going down, and thanks to that most people were either on their way home, already at home, or out in bars. As Naruto approached the front gate, he saw something that he didn't particularly want to. Tenten, I already said I can't let you come with me, said Naruto as he walked up to the girl who was waiting at the gates. Oh, how cute, Ototo, you think I'm giving you a choice, said Tenten as Naruto walked up to her. I lost you once, Naruto, I'm not letting that happen again, declared Tenten, getting a sigh from Naruto, who just nodded. Alright, I'm guessing that you have all of your things? Questioned Naruto, getting a nod from the girl. Alright, let's go, said Naruto, walking out of the gate, pulling out a map that he had handy as he walked. So, Ototo, where we headed? Questioned Tenten as the two walked. Yuzusho, said Naruto as he put the map back in his pocket. 20 minutes later. The blonde Uzumaki and his adoptive sister had been walking towards the land of waves where they planned to hopefully get a boat to Yuzusho. Naruto Uzumaki came a monotone voice, making both Naruto and Tenten's eyes widen before turning to the voice. Gaara? Questioned Naruto. What are you doing here? Questioned Naruto. I heard about your banishment, my friend, and if you'll have me, I wish to join you, said the emotionally unstable redhead. Are you sure you want to? Questioned Naruto, getting a nod from the redhead. Okay, if you're sure, then you can come with us, said Naruto. How come you're letting him come without arguing like you did with me? Questioned Tenten. Because he didn't have a good life in his home village, you did, so I feel less guilty about letting him join me, said Naruto. Tenten grumbled but accepted Naruto's answer. 2 days later. Naruto, Gaara and Tenten sat on the shores of Yuzusho, having arrived by boat from the wave half an hour ago. After a short time in wave, Tazuna had organized a boat for the trio. Still, even after months feeling in debt to Naruto for his role in the building of the bridge, Naruto had thanked him, and the three had been on their way. Once they arrived, Naruto had declared that they would explore the ruins the next day, so they had a full day to do so, and now the trio sat around a fire. Well, at least Gaara and Tenten did. Naruto himself was off by himself a little bit away from the two. I guess now is as good as ever, muttered Naruto, reaching into his bag to pull out a pair of letters from his bag. The one he opened first turned out to be from his mother. To my dearest Naruto-chan. I dearly hope that this letter is never given to you, because if it is, that means neither myself nor your father are around, and you have been left alone. The first thing that needs to be said is I love you. I love you so much it hurts, my baby boy. I hope you have blossomed into a wonderful young man. But should this letter be what you have of me, then I need to tell you that you are not human. Neither myself nor your father are human, but he can explain himself in his own letter. I myself am a devil, as is any member of the Uzumaki clan. Our clan was formed by members of several devil clans that didn't wish to fight, so we traveled to this world to escape from war. You have blood of the Gremri, Baal, Phoenix, Citri devil clans running through your veins, and if you wish to learn about the powers you get from these clans, then travel to the Uzumaki clan homeland of Yuzusho. There you will find information on all of the clans. However, if for some reason you want to, the portal between this world and the world of the devils should still be usable to you. It is located under the tower at the center of Yuzusho. Just know, Naruto-chan, whatever you end up doing, I will always love you. Your mother, Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto let a few tears fall from his eyes and a smile grace his features as he read the letter before he moved on to the next one, curious what his father would say. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto, my boy, I so wish that this letter will never be found in your hands, as that means I am dead before your mother, and I can explain things to you. Before I get to anything else, I want to tell you that I love you no matter what you become, who you become. You are my son, and I will always love you. Now on to the things that need to be explained. You, my child, are not human. You are a Nephilim, a hybrid of a devil and an angel. I am the angel, while your mother is a devil. I was originally sent to this world by my now deceased father, the god of the Holy Bible as he was known, to investigate the presence of devils among the humans of the world. When I was young, I entered the Konoha Academy to blend in while I investigated, and during that time I met and fell in love with your mother, who only after we were married did I find out she was herself a devil. But that meant nothing to me. If the letter is in your possession, then I am dead, which means that there is now only two ways to learn about your angelic heritage. One is from the scrolls in our home, and the other is to use the portal that I came to this world through in the mountains in the land of lighting, which leads to heaven, the domain of the angels. But no, whatever you chose to do, deny your heritage, embrace it. I am proud of you. Your father, Minato Namikaze. Once more Naruto let a smile grace his features as tears rolled down his cheeks. It was at that moment Naruto felt a pair of arms wrap around him. You okay, Ototo? Questioned Tenten. Yet just reading letters from my parents, said Naruto, nodding. Tenten smiled as she hugged her brother. The next morning, Naruto, followed by Gaara and Tenten, walked along a road towards the village of Yuzusho. As they walked, they came to a very rusty metal gate. Naruto gently pushed the gate, and with a great groan, slowly the gate swung open before falling backwards off its hinges. The trio headed straight for the tower in the center of the village, Gaara and Tenten simply following Naruto's lead, not feeling up to exploring on their own. It took all of 5 minutes for the trio to reach the tower, and once more the three of them, Tenten and Gaara following Naruto's lead, went straight down the stairs and ended up in what at first looked like an empty room. However, after a second of Naruto being in the room, 3 pairs of wings burst forth from his back, the left ones being black bat-like wings, until about halfway where they morphed into flaming wings of the same shape, but flaming a light blue flame. The right wings, however, were all sold feathery wings, golden and glowing. Just after the wings burst from Naruto's back, an orb, black, red, gold, purple, and silver in color, formed in the center of the room, and before anyone could do anything, the orb sucked Naruto, Tenten, and Gaara into it. Naruto, came a deep voice from behind a set of bars that Naruto found himself in front of. Kyubi, what do you want? Growled Naruto before dropping to the ground, clutching his head, screaming in pain. A thanks would be nice, declared Kyubi. A thanks for what? It's your fault I got banished, growled Naruto. I broke all the seals on your body excluding the Shiki Fujin, declared Kyubi. If you destroyed all of the other seals, why not that one? Questioned Naruto before once more dropping to his knees, screaming, holding his head in pain. Because that would kill my little Ototo, declared Kyubi. Kurama and I, spoke Naruto, pushing himself to his feet and hobbling through the bars before he was brought into a hug by a 6-foot-tall man. The man wore a pair of black jeans with 9 tails flowing out of the top. He also had fox-like ears at the top of his head and 6 whisker marks adorned his cheeks. The man wore no shirt, revealing his ripped chest. Thank you, said Naruto before falling backwards unconscious. 20 minutes later. Naruto woke up with his mind suddenly a whole lot more free. That's when he remembered. Kurama and I? Questioned Naruto, looking around. Yeah? Questioned the voice of the now transformed Kyubi, who walked out of the shadows of the cage. What seals were on me? Questioned Naruto. I couldn't see them all to analyze them all, but the ones I saw were a memory seal, obviously sealing away your memories of me, a scatter seal which was applied to your head, meaning that it was screwing with your intelligence, memory and such, and a blood seal that block out your angelic and devil powers. That one I didn't entirely break, it was partially broken by the portal room. I just finished breaking it. Those were all the ones I could analyze, said Kyubi. Thanks, Nissan, said Naruto. No problems, Naruto, but could you please change this place again? Questioned Kurama. Naruto nodded before dropping into a meditative position. The world of rusty pipes and dripping water began to shake and quake until cracks in the wall opened up, and then shortly after that the walls exploded outwards, blinding the still standing Kurama. Once the Biju's eyes adjusted to the light, he found himself and Naruto in the middle of a field. Around them were mountains, trees, lakes, and even a 2-story house. I tried to recreate the first world as well as I could, said Naruto, getting a nod from Kurama. I'll see you later, Kuramani, said Naruto as he started to vanish from his mind. I recreated the connection. We should be able to talk like we used to, declared Kurama, getting a nod from the now translucent Naruto. Unknown location. Naruto's eyes fluttered open. He was lying down in the softest bed he'd ever slept in. Good morning, Naruto-san, said a feminine voice, making Naruto's eyes snap to the origin. He saw a woman in a blue and white maid outfit with silver hair and eyes. How do you know my name? Questioned Naruto. We were assuming that Naruto was your name from the letters in your bag, said a new voice from the now open door. Naruto turned to the door and saw a youngish-looking man with crimson red hair and blue-green eyes. The man wore a rather extravagant outfit that Naruto wasn't sure how to describe. Hello, my name is Surzex Lucifer, and this is Graphia Lucifuge, said the red-haired man, now identified as Surzex. Wait, where are Tenten and Gaara? Questioned Naruto, looking around panicked. I take it those are the 2 people with you? Questioned Surzex, getting a nod from Naruto. They are fine, simply recovering in the next room, said Surzex. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief. Where am I? Asked Naruto, sitting up, realizing he was without his clothes. You're in Gremry Castle. You've been out for a week, said Surzex, making Naruto's eyes widen. Where are you from, Naruto-san? Questioned Surzex, his eyes narrowing at Naruto, making him shrink away from the intimidating gaze. I believe he's from the Elemental Nations, I think is what they were dubbed, said yet another woman, walking into the room. This woman had medium-length brown hair and lilac eyes. She wore a white dress and expensive-looking jewelry. She had a soft smile on her face. Naruto calmed down slightly. Yes, I come from the Elemental Nations, said Naruto shakily. It's okay, dear, you don't need to be scared. We're not going to hurt you, said the purple-eyed woman. I take it from the mention of Gremry I'm in the world of devils, said Naruto, not sure if he was right or not. Yes, that's right, it's generally called the underworld though, said Surzex. How is it that you know about devils and the underworld, Naruto-san? Questioned the redhead in the room. My mother told me about it in her letter to me. It was one of the 2 in my bag, said Naruto before his eyes went wide. My bag, said Naruto, scrabbling up to look for it. Calm down, Naruto-san, your bag is right here along with all of the contents, said Graphia, handing Naruto his bag. Naruto snatched the bag out of her hands before quickly going through the bag, noting everything was there. Naruto then breathed a sigh of relief. Your mother? Questioned Surzex. Kushina Uzumaki, she said that the Uzumaki clan was formed from peaceful devils from several clans who didn't want to fight, said Naruto. I've never heard of the Uzumaki clan, have you, mother? Questioned Surzex, turning to face the brunette, who nodded. Yes, I have, and what Naruto-san says is true. The Uzumaki clan was formed by devils of various clans who didn't wish to fight, traveling to another world, hence the portal you found him near. But last I heard, all of the clan had moved back to the underworld before moving to yet another world 30 years ago, said the brunette. Naruto, Konoha and the Uzumakis made a peace treaty, and your mother was sent to Konoha to become my second Jinchuriki, said Kurama. The Uzumaki clan made a peace treaty with my former village, and my mother was sent to the village to become a Jinchuriki, said Naruto. Power of a human sacrifice? Questioned Graphia. A person with a biju sealed inside them, said Naruto, his right hand unconsciously coming to rest on his stomach. A burden you and your mother share? Questioned the brunette, noting Naruto's hand movement. Naruto's eyes widened until he noted his hand's position before nodding. Yes, my mother was the second Jinchuriki while I'm the third, said Naruto, looking down. You said former village, what happened? Questioned Surzex. I was banished for failing a mission, said Naruto. That seems a little harsh, does it not? Questioned Surzex. It was a mission to retrieve the last surviving member of a powerful clan who was defecting from the village, and the village hated my guts because of the Kyuubi, said Naruto. Everyone's eyes widen. You hold a Kyuubi? Questioned Graphia. Yes, said Naruto, confused. Kyuubi yokais in this world are incredibly rare, said Surzex. Well, there was only one in my world and now there's none, as he's right here, said Naruto, patting his stomach. Well, given you have been banished from your village, what do you plan to do now? Asked the brunette. Honestly, I had no idea. I was just traveling to my ancestral homeland with my friends where I was going to train and work a mercenary, probably, said Naruto. Why don't you stay here? You're a devil, at least partially, which means you can be given a set of evil pieces and take part in raiding games, said Surzex. You're speaking gibberish to me. I don't understand anything of what you just said, declared Naruto. Well, do you have any interest in your devil heritage? Questioned the brunette. Yes, I do. I want to learn all I can about who I am, said Naruto. Well, for the next few months you could stay here and learn about the devils and train as you please, then decide what to do, said the brunette. Well, I suppose I could do that if you're willing to let me, that is, said Naruto, not sure of himself. Of course, child, you're a devil and a gremry, of course we're willing to let you stay, said yet another person walking into the room. This one was once more a redhead. He had bright blue eyes and a short red stubbly beard. He wore a white jacket and white pants. Several days later, Naruto sat in the library with the brown-haired Venelana sitting in front of him, while he and his clones read books. The blonde had spent the last several days reading books and studying his devil heritage with his clones helping, after Kurama revealed that the clones passed memories back to Naruto when they burst, and Venelana guiding him, learning to control his devil powers, or at least the power of destruction powers he found he had, with Surzex guiding him, watching over Gaara and Tenten, who he had found out had yet to awake, or hanging out with his new friends Rias, the daughter of Venelana and Lord Gremory, and younger sister of Surzex, and Rias's queen Akino, who was quite sadistic and reminded him slightly of Anko, and the last active member of Rias's peerage, Yudo Kiba. Naruto-kun, came the voice of Rias from the doorway to the library. In here, Rias-chan, said Naruto, from the back of the library. Rias walked towards the back of the library. Oh, Ka-chan, sorry, said Rias as she saw Venelana. It's okay, dear, what's up? Questioned Venelana. Well, Graphia asked me to tell Naruto that his friends have woken up, said Rias. Really, Tenten and Gaara are awake? Questioned Naruto, looking at Rias, getting a nod from the girl. Naruto then turned to Venelana. Go, Naruto, you don't need to ask me, said Venelana. Naruto nodded and jumped to his feet, and just before running off he created yet another clone to replace him before running off and out of the room, Rias following after him. Naruto jogged through the halls while Rias had to run at her fastest pace to keep up. It took all of 3 minutes for Naruto and Rias to reach the room where Gaara and Tenten both now sat awake. Nei-chan, Gaara, thank Kami you two are okay, said Naruto as he saw the two sitting up. Naruto-sama, please calm down, scolded Graphia. Graphia, I have told you over and over, don't call me Sama, said Naruto, turning to the maid. Naruto, where are we? Questioned Tenten, looking around. Gremory Castle in the underworld, said Naruto. What do you mean, underworld? Questioned Gaara. The underworld is the home of the devils, and before you ask, I am a Nephilim, which is a hybrid of a devil and an angel, said Naruto, getting a nod from Gaara. So what is the plan for now? Asked Tenten. Well, for now we're staying here while I learn about my devil heritage, then I have no idea, said Naruto, getting a nod from both of his friends. Naruto, came a voice from behind the boy. Naruto turned to see Lord Gremory. Gremory-sama, said Naruto, bowing as he turned around. Naruto repeated the man looking at Naruto with a displeased look on his face. Grafia is in the room, she'll hit me for being disrespectful, said Naruto, getting a raised eyebrow from the Gremory clan head. Fine, yes Hikaru-san, what can I do for you? Questioned Naruto. As much as I don't wish to interrupt your time with your friends, but it's time to get your evil pieces, said Hikaru. Evil pieces? Questioned Tenten. Rias, could you explain evil pieces while I take Naruto to get his? Questioned Hikaru, getting a nod from his daughter. Alright, come on Naruto, said the man before walking out of the room, Naruto following. Right, well, evil pieces, began Rias. 20 minutes later. Naruto returned after being given his evil pieces to find Rias just finishing up her explanation to Gaara and Tenten. So you're all caught up on the evil pieces? Questioned Naruto, getting a nod from Tenten and Gaara. Are you going to ask to turn us Naruto? Questioned Tenten, getting a shake of the head from Naruto. No, you two are my friends, I couldn't make you my servants even if that would mean no change for how we interact. Besides, the evil pieces are designed to reincarnate humans from this dimension's overworld, there is no telling what they might do to you, said Naruto. I'm willing to test it, said Tenten. As am I, said Gaara. I don't want to risk it, said Naruto, shaking his head. Rias, came a voice from in the hallway. In here, Akino called Rias out into the hall. Naruto, hello, spoke Akino when she walked into the room. Naruto-senpai, said Kiba in surprise when the knight walked into the room. Hey Akino, Kiba, said Naruto before turning to his friends. Right, you lot don't know each other, Tenten. Gaara, this is Akino Himejima, Rias's queen, and Yudo, Kiba, Rias's knight. Kiba, Akino, this is Tenten, my sister, and Gaara, who is my brother in all but blood, said Naruto with a grin, introducing the four. It's good to see you two have recovered, said Kiba with a smile. You make it sound like we've been out for ages, said Tenten. You have been out for over a week, said Naruto, making Tenten's eyes widen. Even the normally stoic Gaara's eye widened a bit. You still need a few days to recover before you will be permitted to leave, spoke Grafia, shocking Naruto, who had completely forgot the maid was in the room. Both Gaara and Tenten were a little bit annoyed at that, as they both felt fine, but they would listen in this situation. A few hours later. Naruto was walking around the halls of the Gremory Castle. He had nothing to do. He had recovered from the mental whiplash of his lessons with Venilana. Surzex was training Rias, and her two peerage members, and Tenten and Gaara were both asleep. Oh Grafia, where are you going? Asked Naruto, spotting the maid walking towards the castle doors. Just out to do some shopping, Naruto-sama, nothing to worry about, said Grafia. Would you like a hand? Questioned Naruto. You don't need to help, Naruto-sama, this is a job for a maid, said Grafia. Well, I want to help, said Naruto, walking down to Grafia. You're not going to let this go, are you? Questioned Grafia, getting a nod from Naruto. Alright, sighed Grafia as the two walked out of the castle. 2 hours later. Naruto and Grafia were both walking along the streets of the underworld, each carrying bags of groceries, while a second Naruto was also carrying several bags. It had not been long or eventful, but Naruto was thankful for the distraction. However, the blonde was a little distracted. He kept feeling a strong presence somewhere around, but he couldn't pinpoint it. It kind of felt the Kyuubi, but less powerful and different at the same time. Are you okay, Naruto-sama? You seem distracted? Questioned Grafia. I keep feeling something, but I can't pinpoint it, said Naruto, looking up to the woman. Grafia stopped for a moment and closed her eyes, stretching her senses out, but unfortunately she wasn't the best at sensing, nor did the lively street help. I'm sorry, Naruto-sama, I can't sense anything, declared Grafia. Naruto sighed before he went rigid and then cloned himself, who quickly took the bags from Naruto, who then ran off. Grafia turned to the clone. Can you carry this stuff back to the castle? Questioned Grafia, who got a nod from the clone before she too handed the clone her bags before her bat-like devil wings burst from her back and she shot off after Naruto, who had jumped up onto roofs and was hopping across the rooftops in a random direction. What have you found, Naruto-sama? Questioned Grafia to herself as she followed the blonde. Naruto dropped into a seemingly random alleyway which Grafia hovered over as Naruto slowly walked down the alley. Naruto looked around the alley he dropped into. I know, I felt it here, muttered Naruto from his position. Go away now, I don't want to hurt you, came a voice from deeper into the alley. I'm not here to hurt you, please, I mean you no harm, said Naruto, holding his hands up in a sign of non-aggression. Out of the darkened end of the alley walked out a dark-haired girl with golden eyes, a pair of cat-like ears at the top of her head and two cat-like tails. Behind her was a white-haired girl who shared the cat-like ears, golden eyes and cat tail, however she only had one, and both of them wore what at best could be described as rags. The black-haired one stood protectively in front of the white-haired one and glared at Naruto. "What do you want?" questioned the black-haired girl. "I sensed you two and came to investigate, and now I am going to ask, do you two want to join my peerage?" questioned Naruto, looking at the two girls whose eyes widened. "Why would you want us to join your peerage?" questioned the black-haired girl in surprise. "I sensed your power, you two are powerful, plus I hate seeing people on the street," said Naruto. The black-haired girl looked back to the white-haired girl. "I trust him, Nachan," said the girl quietly. The black-haired girl turned back to Naruto. "I am Kuroka. This is my sister Chiron," said the now identified Kuroka. Naruto then smiled at the two girls. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki," said Naruto with a soft smile. Naruto sat in his room in the Gremry Castle, having just got back to the castle. After their initial shock, Kuroka and Chiron were scared of everyone in the castle, so they had stayed as close to Naruto as they could, at least until they got to his room, where he told them to get cleaned up before he made them part of his peerage. In truth, while he wanted them to get cleaned up, the real reason he sent them to clean up before adding them to his peerage was he was trying to work out what pieces to use on them. They were Nekomata, and if he was right, they were actually Nekashu, which meant they would be able to use and master Senjutsu, which could be used to enhance hand-to-hand capabilities, making them perfect for rooks. However, they could also use Jujitsu, which with the verity of magic could make them excellent bishops. "Naruto-sama, I have brought the clothes for your companions," declared Grafia, walking into the room with an armful of clothes. "Thanks, Grafia, you're a lifesaver," said Naruto, sending the silver-haired queen a smile. "It's nothing, Naruto-sama, just doing my duty," said Grafia. Just then the bathroom door opened, letting steam pour out. Both Kuroka and Chiron walked out, each wrapped in a towel. "Just in time," said Naruto as the two cat girls walked out of the bathroom. Grafia walked over to the girls and handed each of them half of the pile of clothes in her arms. Naruto himself walked out of the room and closed the door behind him to give the girls some privacy. Several minutes passed and the door opened. Naruto walked back into the room and his jaw almost hit the floor. Kuroka wore a black kimono with a yellow obi. The kimono had a red interior and it is open at her shoulders, giving view to her large cleavage, which Naruto only just now noticed. Chiron wore a similar outfit, however her kimono was white with a cyan inside, the obi being a nice medium blue color, and the other difference was that Chiron's kimono was closed at the shoulders. "Wow, you two look beautiful," said Naruto with a smile. Both cat girls blushed but smiled at the praise. "Well, I'll leave you three to it," said Grafia, walking out of the room. "So Naruto-sama," began Chiron. "No, Sama, please, I don't like it. We're friends," said Naruto with a smile to both girls, who then both nodded. "So Naruto-kunin, are you going to turn us now?" questioned Kuroka, stretching out his name with a purr, as she rubbed up against him, blushing as she did so. Naruto himself blushed a bit, but he had grown up with Anko. Teasing was nothing new to him. "Well, I just want to clarify a couple of things first," said Naruto as he sat down on his bed. Kuroka took the spot next to him, while hugging his right arm into her cleavage. Chiron, seeing Naruto not so much as batting an eye at his arm being hugged into Kuroka's cleavage, sat on his lap. "I take it from the tails and ears I saw that you two are Nekomatas, yes?" questioned Naruto, getting a nod from the two cat ladies. "Are you a specific type of Nekomatas?" questioned Naruto, getting a semi-confused look from Chiron, but a nod from Kuroka. "Yes, we're Nekashu," said Kuroka, getting a confused look from her little sister. "We're a special type of Nekomatas that can actually master Senjutsu and Jujitsu. Other types of Nekomatas can't actually master it, they can use it but not master it," said Kuroka, scratching behind her sister's cat ears, making the young white-haired girl purr and lean into her sister's hand and back onto Naruto's shoulder. Naruto smiled at the interactions of the sisters. Once Kuroka stopped, Chiron realized where her head was and sat back up with a sheepish expression. Naruto just smiled and gently lifted the white-haired girl off his lap before sitting her down next to him so he could stand up. Naruto walked over to his bag and pulled out a scroll. "Naruto?" questioned Kuroka, looking at the blonde, confused and somewhat scared of what he was doing. "Yeah?" said Naruto, turning around, scroll in hand. "What are you doing?" asked Kuroka. Naruto walked back over to the bed and put the scroll down and unfurled it, revealing a matrix that confused the two Nekomatas. "This," said Naruto, putting his hand on the seal and pumped chakra into it, creating a plume of smoke which, once cleared, revealed a set of pure white chess pieces, only missing the king. "So who's first?" questioned Naruto, looking at the two sisters. "Me," declared Kuroka. Naruto nodded. "Okay, well, I'm going to need you to lay back for a moment," said Naruto, getting a nod from the black-haired girl, who leaned back until she was on her back. Naruto then knelt next to her with his pieces next to him. Once the woman was relaxed, Naruto put a single pawn on her stomach before waiting a second, then putting another on her stomach. Again he waited for a moment before he once more put another pawn on the woman's stomach. "What are you doing, Naruto?" questioned a confused Chiron, tilting her head to the side in a cute manner. I'm working out how many pawns Kuroka is worth. I already have an idea which pieces to use on you two, but I want to know how many pawns individually you two are worth before deciding on the pieces for sure, said Naruto, getting up to 6 pawns on Kuroka while explaining. How do you work out how many pawns we're worth? Questioned Kuroka, sitting up on her elbows a bit, only for the pawns on her stomach to turn blood red in color. Like that, said Naruto, looking at the black-haired girl who now had 8 pawns on her stomach. 8? Questioned Kuroka, getting a nod from Naruto. Just shy of the power of a queen, but more than individual rooks, knights or bishops, said Naruto with a grin, the knowledge from Venelana's lessons shining through. Okay, so what are you going to do? I'm going to assume you're not going to waste your queen on me, said Kuroka. I wouldn't consider it a waste, but no, I have a better plan in mind for you, but I just want to check how many pawns Chiron is worth first, said Naruto, narrowing his eyes at the girl's low self-esteem. Naruto then turned to Chiron. Just lay down, Chiron, said Naruto, getting a nod from the girl who let herself fall back onto the soft mattress of the bed. Naruto then once more, one by one, put the white pawns onto the girl's stomach until they turned blood red, which happened to be when the 5th piece was put there. Chiron frowned at that, her cat ears drooping. What's the matter, Chiron-chan? Questioned Naruto, noting the girl's change in mood. I'm not worth as many as Nei-chan, said Chiron with a sad tone. Hey, that doesn't matter right now. For all we know, you could become stronger than her in no time, said Naruto reassuringly. Kuroka smiled at Naruto, feeling she and Chiron had made the right choice joining his peerage. You really think I can be as strong as Nei-chan? Questioned Chiron. You bet, said Naruto with a grin, making Chiron smile before nodding. Scenario Totokoyan, what's this plan of yours? Said Kuroka, wrapping her arms around him, purring his name once more. Oh, that's easy, I'm going to use multiple pieces, said Naruto, turning back to the girl who raised an eyebrow. That was part of the reason I asked about the type of Nekomatas you two are, because I read that the Nekashu have a really high ability with Senjutsu and Yujitsu, which means the two of you could make great bishops or rooks, bishops giving you boosted magic abilities while rooks enhance your physical abilities, said Naruto, getting a nod from both girls. Alright, Kuroka-chan, if you're ready, I'll get started, said Naruto. Kuroka nodded and once more lay down. Naruto sealed all bar his 2 rooks and 1 bishop away back in the scroll. Naruto then lay one of the rook pieces and the bishop down on Kuroka's chest. I command thee as Naruto Uzumaki. Mine command, Kuroka, is that thou shalt walk amongst the devil's underworld as equals. I seal this contract. Be reborn, declared Naruto as he and Chiron watched in fascination as the 2 chess pieces sunk into Kuroka's chest, turning red as they went. Naruto, what's going on? I felt, they said Surzex, running into Naruto's room before noting the 2 girls on the bed and the chess piece in his hand. SS Surzex L. Lucifer, stuttered Kuroka, half hiding behind Naruto, terrified of the man in front of them. Hello, yes, I am Surzex Lucifer, and you two are? Questioned Surzex, looking at the 2 Nekomatas. The room was silent for a moment, before Naruto looked back at both of the terrified sisters. This is Kuroka, my bishop and rook, and that's Kaneko, my soon-to-be other rook, said Naruto to Surzex, whose eyes went wide. Wait, did you just say that Kuroka-san is you bishop and rook? Questioned Surzex, shocked. Yeah, why is there something wrong with that? Questioned Naruto. Yes, actually that shouldn't be possible, said Surzex, getting a confused look from Naruto. You shouldn't be able to cross classes like that. She should have only been able to accept one of those classes, not both, said Surzex. Well, I wasn't known as the most unpredictable ninja in my former village for nothing, said Naruto with a grin. That's all well and good, but I must ask that you not do that again. We have no idea what such a process could do, said Surzex, getting a nod from Naruto. And Kuroka-san will have to be monitored by Grafia for a while just to make sure that there is no adverse effects from the 2 classes, said Surzex, making Kuroka pale a bit, but Naruto put a hand on her shoulder. You'll be fine, I promise you that, declared Naruto. Kuroka nodded. Several days later. It had been several days since Naruto turned Chiron and Kuroka. There had been no major problems. The biggest of the minor ones was the sleeping arrangement. The 2 Nekomata sisters were adamant about staying as close together as they could, hence they were sharing a bed. Now that wasn't the problem was the fact that they decided to share Naruto's bed, and their sleep clothes, particularly in Kuroka's case, were a little revealing, thankfully, though again because Naruto grew up with Enko, it wasn't as bad as the situation could be. Naruto was now outside the Gremmy Castle. He had once more finished his lessons with Venelana for the day. Rias and her peerage were out doing a mission. Tenten and Gaara were being taught about Devil Society by Venelana, and the Nico sisters, as Naruto had begun to call them, were with Grafia, who was checking on Kuroka, so Naruto was just walking in the garden. However, Naruto stopped when a bolt of purple lightning slammed into the ground in front of him. You there, Blondie, came a voice from behind Naruto, Naruto turned around and looked up into a tree where he saw what looked like a devil. The man had purplish blue skin, black hair, dark pink eyes, and a pair of horns sticking out. His forehead curved upwards. For clothing, the man wore a black high-collar jacket, formal black pants, and a white pointed scarf thing around his neck that on both ends was a symbol, which was a skull with a pair of bat-like wings without the skin sections, and above the skull and between the wings was a purple star. Sprouting from the man's back, Naruto could see a pair of devil wings in between, which was the hilt of a sword which for a pommel had 3 skull shapes and a spike on it. Naruto could also barely make out the guard, which was a pair of devil wings. However, he could feel no evil pieces in the man, nor could he sense the man was a king. "Who are you?" questioned Naruto, narrowing his eyes at the man while simultaneously reaching for a kunai. "My name is Alastor, and my master has ordered your death," declared the now identified Alastor before ripping his blade off his back before jumping from the tree branch and swinging his blade at Naruto. The blonde at an untraceable speed brought his kunai up to block the blade. Alastor sent Naruto a psychotic grin. Naruto reared his fist back and slammed his fist into the devil's face, making the devil fly back and hit the tree. Naruto narrowed his eyes as the devil just dropped from the tree, landing on his feet before looking at Naruto again with the same psychotic smirk. Naruto jumped back when a bolt of purple lightning shot down from the sky. Naruto narrowed his eyes when he saw Alastor's sword sparking with purple lightning. "So you're behind the purple lightning," declared Naruto, narrowing his eyes. "That's right," said the man, charging at Naruto, swinging his blade over his head. The devil's blade sailed through the air and cut deep into Naruto, making Alastor's eyes widen and smirk widen. However, that changed to a glare when Naruto went up in a puff of smoke and was replaced with a slashed log. Now it was Alastor's turn to dodge, jumping out of the way when from behind him a ball of light blue fire came flying at him. The devil turned to see Naruto floating in the air, 3 pairs of bat-like wings with the outer halves of which were on fire, a light blue fire, kunai in one hand, a ball of black and red energy hovering over his other hand. "A phoenix? Or are you a Baal?" questioned Alastor, watching Naruto. "Neither, I'm an Uzumaki," yelled Naruto, shooting forwards before throwing the ball of red and black energy forwards. The ball grew in size as it got closer to Alastor. "Oh hell no," said the devil before he jumped up and shot upwards, getting just out of range of the expanding destruction. Unfortunately, Naruto flew right at the devil, burying his fist into Alastor's gut. The sword-wielding devil doubled over, coughing up blood before Naruto front flipped, slamming his heel into Alastor's head, sending the pink-eyed devil rocketing into the ground. "You're a king, yet you have the strength of a rook," said Alastor, looking up at Naruto, only to see him not there. "And the speed of a knight," said Naruto, appearing behind the downed devil, only to have to jump out of the way as a bolt of purple lightning slammed into the ground between them. Naruto narrowed his eyes. That lightning trick was getting annoying. "Time to even the annoying trick playing field," said Naruto before putting his hands together in a cross-hand sign. "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu," called Naruto, and in a huge cloud of smoke hundreds of Narutos formed. Alastor was at first shocked, but then his psychotic smirk grew larger. "Well, that's an interesting trick," said the devil before bolts started shooting down from the sky like no one's business while he ran forwards with his blade in hand and began slicing through all of the Narutos. The real blonde, however, was hiding in a tree watching as Alastor tore through his clones. After only minutes the clones were all dealt with, and as Alastor guessed halfway thought the clones, Naruto wasn't among them. However, the sword wielder was shocked when he turned around and saw Naruto charging at him with a ball of pure spiraling energy floating above his hand. Alastor was too shocked to even defend, and Naruto slammed the spiraling energy into Alastor's gut. The spiraling orb ground, ripped, and tore Alastor's flesh. "Rasengan!" yelled Naruto before the back pushed Alastor backwards into a tree, the force of the attack making the sword come flying out of his hand, landing on the ground meters away from Naruto. Naruto called a voice from behind him. The blonde turned around only to be tackled by Kuroka and Chiron, and behind them was Grafia, Gaara, Tenten and Venilana. Hey, what's this about?" questioned Naruto, rubbing the 2 Nikomata's backs. "We were just so scared you'd been hurt," said Kuroka as she and her sister sobbed against Naruto's chest. "What happened, Naruto? We felt a surge in your power," said Venilana. "I was fighting that guy," said Naruto, pointing in the direction that his Rasengan launched Alastor, only to see the man not there. Naruto, however, noted that the sword Alastor had used was still there. Naruto sat up, hugging both Nikomatas before slipping out of their grip and walking over to the weapon, getting confused looks from everyone. Naruto carefully looked at the sword, trying to surmise if it was a trap. After nudging it with his foot, he decided it was safe to pick up the sword. Once Naruto picked up the blade, it glowed gold for a moment before the glow split into 2 and one part split off and landed on the ground. The glow that was on the ground grew in size until it was about the size of a person before the glow then disappeared, leaving a person kneeling towards Naruto. Alastor, growled Naruto, bringing the sword up to slice the devil down. "Please, master, wait," said Alastor, falling backwards, waving his hands in a non-aggressive gesture. Naruto stopped, glaring down at the devil. Alaster as in lightning sword Alaster? Questioned Graphia, walking closer to the two devils. That's me, said the Alaster. Lightning sword? Questioned Naruto. I am a sentient weapon, that sword in your hands to be precise, said Alaster. Why were you attacking me? Questioned Naruto. My previous master ordered me to kill you, as I said at the beginning of our fight, said the sword spirit. Why? Questioned Kuroka, stepping next to Naruto. He did not tell me why, he just told me to do it, said Alaster. Well, what's his name so we can ask him ourselves? Questioned Gaara. His name is... Naruto, with his new sword Alaster on his back, stood with Kuroka and Chiron behind him, and behind them stood Gaara and Tenten. The five of them were standing outside the house of Alaster's former master, who was a devil by the name of Lakata Arena. Naruto had heard from Surzex that the man was a recently promoted high-class devil. Literally a week before Naruto arrived, the man had been promoted. Naruto had told the Satin-class devil that he would be the one to deal with the man and his attempted assassination of Naruto. Or at least he had said he would, but then his two peerage members and two friends had invited themselves. Naruto pulled the blade of Alaster off his back, before kicking the door in. Knock knock, growled Naruto, glaring into the room, only to see a blue-haired man in the room. Who the hell are my two Nikomatas, said the man with a soft smile, seeing the two cat girls. Back up, they're people, not property, and they're members of my peerage, growled Naruto, pointing his new blade at the man. Your peerage? That means you're the bastard that stole them from me, growled the man, taking an offensive stance, glaring at Naruto. I didn't steal anything from anyone, I offered them a position in my peerage, and they took it, declared Naruto. You bastard, I was going to save them from a life on the streets, and then they were going to be so thankful to me, and I would be the father of the new Nikomata race, but now I have to kill you and then keep them locked up, growled the psychotic-sounding man. Both Chiron and Kuroka felt their skin crawl. Don't worry, you two, I won't let his so much as lay a finger on you, declared Naruto, turning back to face the sisters slightly. They nodded to him as he turned back to the delusional devil with a glare, flipping Alaster over and grabbing the blade in a backhanded grip. Good thing I got permission from Surzex to do what I wanted with you, said Naruto, glaring at the blue-haired devil, who raised an eyebrow. What are you gonna do, you little runt? Questioned the devil, still not realizing that the blade in the blonde's hand was Alaster. I'm going to kill you, declared Naruto, shocking both Tenten and Gaara. Neither knew that their friend would be so bloodthirsty. I wish you luck, boy, I'll have you know I'm a high-class devil, said the man arrogantly. That's nice, I'm an Uzumaki, so I don't give a shit, said Naruto before he launched forward, swinging Alaster over his head. Lakata jumped back, dodging Naruto's strike, before throwing a sparking clawed hand forward, sending a bolt of lightning towards Naruto, who jumped out of the way, as did the two Nico sisters, Gaara and Tenten. You lot get outside, ordered Naruto, getting a nod from the four other people in the room as Tenten and Gaara jumped backwards out of the home, while Chiron and Kuroka ran out the door as Naruto coated his blade in a black and red aura. The two people and two devils got out just in time for an explosion to go off, and then house exploded outwards, leaving only rubble and the two fighting devils in its wake. Naruto stood glaring, his sword in a backhanded grip. The blue-haired devil stood with an insane grin on his face, looking past Naruto at the two Nico sisters. Not a chance, declared Naruto, once more charging forwards, swinging his blade over his head, and out came an arc of red and black energy that flew towards Lakata, who jumped to the side and was about to send another bolt of lightning at Naruto, only to once more have to jump away as a purple bolt of lightning came down and slammed into the ground where he stood just seconds before. You bastard, Alaster, I thought I was your master, growled Lakata, realizing Naruto was wielding Alaster. You were until I beat the shit out of him, then I became his master, declared Naruto, letting his 3 pairs of devil wings sprout out of his back, and he flew up into the air. You think flying gives you an advantage? Questioned Lakata, sprouting his own wings, shooting up into the air. No, but these give me fire to work with, declared Naruto, confusing everyone. That is, until Naruto stuck his free hand into his blue flaming wing with an open palm, where a ball of fire began to form before Naruto pulled his hand out of his wing, revealing a light blue fireball in his hand. But then Naruto tossed Alaster up into the air, where he morphed out of his blade form into devil form before he flew down to Naruto's friends. Get back, we have no idea if this attack is going to work, and if it does, how powerful it's going to be, declared Alaster with a scared look on his face. Naruto had informed him of the plan, and the devil was impressed and scared at the same time. Naruto began pushing chakra to his flaming hand, and then pushing chakra to his other hand he started forming a Rasengan in the blue fire. Lakata didn't know what Naruto was doing, but he didn't like it, so he shot a bolt of lightning at Naruto. Only a precisely aimed kunai flew between the bolt and Naruto, the metal attracting the lightning, rendering the bolt useless. The kunai then fell to the ground, and before Lakata could send another bolt at Naruto, the blonde was on the move, a fireball in his hand at the core of which was what looked like a Rasengan. Naruto flew right at Lakata, who was being held in his place by sand around his ankle. The sand tracked back to Gaara, who had his hand held out towards the delusional devil. Naruto flew straight at Lakata with his right hand forwards. Rasen Haibakudan, spiraling fire bomb, declared Naruto, coming up with a name for the attack on the fly. Once the attack collided with the crazy devil before the ball expanded to a huge size, engulfing the insane man in a ball of blue fire. The ball kept on expanding and expanding until the bottom of it touched the ground 50 feet below Naruto, at which point it suddenly and exceedingly quickly shrunk back down to the size just big enough to contain Lakata before it exploded, sending burning embers scattering around the place, until they flew back towards Naruto's hand once more, forming a ball of blue fire and simultaneously stopping the embers from starting fires. All 5 of Naruto's group watched as Lakata fell to the ground, his clothes and skin still smoking. The devil's body hit the ground with a thud. "You be bastard," wheezed Lakata, his skin slowly healing itself. Naruto dropped down on him, stamping his feet into Lakata's elbows, and pulled out a pair of kunai before stabbing them straight into the devil's palms. "Ow, son of a," said Lakata, only to be kicked in the cheek, stopping him from speaking the next word. Alaster growled Naruto, causing the now nearby sword to morph back into his blade form and fly into his hand. Naruto grabbed the hilt of the sword with one hand before slamming his hands together and slamming the sword downwards. Everyone was surprised when they saw the blade did not pierce Lakata's skull, none more so than the man himself. "Why?" questioned the insane devil, looking up at Naruto. "Death is a release, something you don't deserve for what you had planned," said Naruto before kicking the man in the head, knocking him out. "Naruto?" questioned Kuroka curiously, stepping closer to Naruto. The blonde himself let out a deep sigh before sheathing his blade on his back. "Yeah, Kuroka-chan?" questioned the blonde, turning around. "You okay?" questioned the elder sister of the Nico sisters. "Yes," said Naruto, letting out another heavy sigh. "You know he didn't deserve mercy?" questioned Gaara. "Yes, I do, Gaara, but what would that make me if I didn't give it to him?" questioned Naruto, getting an understanding nod from Gaara. "Someone tell the authorities we have a devil to be jailed," said Naruto, and before anything could even be said, several magical circles appeared, and out of them stepped many devils that surrounded Naruto, his friends, and the unconscious devil. "All yours," said Naruto, motioning to the unconscious body. A couple of hours later, Naruto and his friends were back at the Gremory Castle. Naruto himself was bored and once again roaming the halls. Gaara and Tenten were once more with Venelana learning about Devil Society. Kuroka and Chiron were learning to master their powers. Naruto was walking down the corridors. He walked past one of the many lounge rooms. Naruto called out a voice from inside the room. Naruto walked into the room. "Yeah, Rias?" questioned the blonde, looking at the girl who was sitting on a couch lazily with a remote in her hand. "Do you want to watch some anime with me?" questioned the girl with a smile. "Sure, why not?" said Naruto, taking a seat next to the crimson-haired heiress, who once he had sat down used his shoulder as a headrest. Naruto cast a sideways glance her way before deciding not to bother questioning the girl. "I heard you got into a fight while I was gone," said Rias, looking at Naruto. "Several, actually," said Naruto, glancing at the girl. "Who with and about what, if you don't mind me asking?" asked Rias. "A recently promoted high-class devil who, as I am fairly sure, is insane because I made Kuroka and Chiron part of my peerage," said Naruto. "And the other fight?" questioned Rias. "That was with a sentient sword by the name of Alaster who used to belong to the devil and was sent to kill me, and I now have a lightning sword," said Naruto with a grin. Rias rolled her eyes at the boy's enthusiasm. "So how was your mission?" questioned Naruto. "Oh, it was fine, pretty simple really, although we did run into a little problem when..." Several hours later, Naruto sat next to Rias. After the two had finished their conversation, they sat watching part of Rias's anime collection. But now it was night time and Rias had fallen asleep on Naruto's shoulder. The blonde smiled and rolled his eyes at his friend's behavior. The blonde maneuvered himself in such a way that he could pick Rias up bridal style, and then got up himself and began walking in the direction of Rias's room. As he walked, she unconsciously nuzzled herself against his chest. Once more Naruto rolled his eyes at the girl's behavior as he walked. "Oh, good evening, Naruto-sama. What are you still doing up, let alone with Rias-sama in your arms?" questioned Graphia, walking out of a room ahead of the blonde. "Rias and I were watching some of her anime, and she fell asleep, so I'm just taking her back to her room," said Naruto, getting a nod from Graphia. "I can take her if you wish, Naruto-sama. You too need your sleep," said Graphia, getting a saddish smile from Naruto. "No, it's fine, Graphia. I can take her. Besides, I don't need much sleep anyway," said Naruto. Graphia instantly knew she touched on an unpleasant subject for Naruto. I apologize if I brought up a bad memory, Naruto-sama. If you wish to talk about it, I will always be available to listen, said Grafia. No, I'm good, Grafia, but could you please do me a favor? Questioned Naruto, getting a nod from the silver-haired maid. Please drop the sama from my name, said Naruto. I'm sorry, Naruto-sama, I can't do that, it would be disrespectful to you and your standing, said Grafia. Fine, if you won't do it all the time, can you at least drop it when it's just the two of us? Questioned Naruto. He could see Grafia was conflicted on the matter, not wanting to be disrespectful to his status, but also not wanting to disrespect his wish. Eventually not wanting to disrespect his wish won out. Alright, Naruto, when it's only to two of us I will drop the sama, declared Grafia, getting a head start on his request. Thank you, Grafia-chan, said Naruto with a smile. No problem, Naruto-kyunin, said Grafia, drawing out the koan with a purr before returning to her normal stoic appearance, and walking down the hall as if nothing happened. Good evening, Naruto, said Grafia, not even looking back. To you as well, Grafia, said Naruto, continuing on his way towards Rias's room. Naruto walked down the halls, thankfully not running into any of the other maids as he went. It took all of 5 minutes for Naruto to reach Rias's room after running into Grafia. Once he was in the room, Naruto pulled back Rias's quilt before putting her down on the soft mattress, but when he went to stand back up he found that somehow Rias's hands had snaked around his neck and she was hugging the blonde to her. No, stay, ordered Rias in her sleep. Naruto shook his head. Not tonight, Rias, said Naruto, quickly substituting with a large nearby stuffed animal. The blonde then walked over to the girl, bringing the covers back up and over her. Good night, Rias, said Naruto, turning and walking out of her room. The next day, Naruto had just finished his lessons with Venilana for the day, and was on his way to see Surzex for his lesson on training his powers of destruction. Surzex-sama? Questioned Naruto, spotting the red-haired man walking towards him from down the hall. It wasn't that unusual, but normally the man would be waiting outside. Ah, Naruto-kun, just who I wanted to see. I have an important meeting with the Citri clan head soon, which means unfortunately we can't have our normal lesson time now, said Surzex with a sad smile. That's okay, Surzex-sama, if it's with the Citri clan head it must be important, declared Naruto. Surzex nodded. Now if you want you can come with me should you wish to see more of the underworld. Lord Citri-sama has a daughter, Rias. And your age, said Surzex, getting interrupted by Naruto. Sure, why not, I could use some fresh air, said Naruto, getting a nod from Surzex. Well, if you are ready we can leave now, said Surzex. Naruto nodded in response, and the two walked towards the entrance to the castle. 20 minutes later, Naruto and Surzex had taken a teleportation circle to the edge of the Citri territory, where they then walked from towards a huge castle in the center of the large land mass that was considered Citri territory, hence why they were just now getting to the castle. Ah, Surzex, how nice to see you again. And who is this? Questioned a black-haired man walking towards the pair. Lord Citri-sama, this is Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto, this is Lord Citri-sama, said Surzex, introducing the two. Nice to meet you, Lord Citri-sama, declared Naruto, holding his hand out. And you, my boy, and you, I have heard lots about you recently. The papers say you defeated Alastor the Lighting Sword and then defeated a newly promoted high-class devil on you own, said the man, shaking Naruto's hand. Well, yeah, I guess I did, said Naruto, rubbing the back of his head nervously. Naruto is new to the underworld, only recently coming here from the elemental countries and has yet to be out and about that much, said Surzex. Is that so? Well, normally I would say Sona could show you around, but she's out at the moment. Perhaps Serafal could show you around, young Naruto, if you wish, said Lord Citri. Well, I wouldn't want to cause trouble for you or your family, said Naruto, looking down. Nonsense, my boy, it would be no trouble at all. I'm sure Serafal would love to meet you, said Lord Citri before nodding to a nearby guard who walked into the castle, returning several minutes later with a girl dressed in a pink magical girl outfit. She had long black hair tied into 2 pigtails and purple eyes. Yesy, daddy? Questioned the girl in a childish voice, completely ignoring Naruto and Surzex. Serafal, sweetie, this is Naruto. Would you show him around while Surzex and I have our meeting? Questioned Lord Citri, looking down at his daughter while pointing to Naruto. It was then Serafal noticed they had company. Lucifer-sama, nice to see you again, said Serafal, looking to Surzex. Same to you, Leviathan-sama, said Surzex with a grin. Leviathan-sama, this is Naruto Uzumaki, said Surzex, pointing to Naruto. It's a pleasure, Leviathan-sama, said Naruto, bowing to Serafal. Please don't call me that, Naruto-kun, whined Serafal in a childish manner. Serafal, Surzex and I have a meeting with you, said Lord Citri, interrupted by Serafal. Yes, I'll show Naruto-kun around, said Serafal, grabbing his wrist before dragging the blonde out of the gates. I sure hope he can keep up with her, said Lord Citri. Oh, I wouldn't worry about that, I would be more worried about her keeping up with him, said Surzex with a grin. Naruto was being dragged along by Seraphol. The two had left Citri Castle not 2 minutes ago. The two were jogging, or at least Naruto was jogging down the main streets of the largest town in the Citri's territory. Leviathan called people walking up to the girl with pens and paper in their hands. Hey everyone, sorry no autographs today, said Seraphol sadly, looking at the crowd of devils. AWWW, why not Leviathan? Questioned devils in the group. I have to show Naruto-kun around, said Seraphol, gesturing to Naruto. Why, Leviathan-sama has a boyfriend, squealed the girls in the group. Naruto blinked as everyone began to crowd him too. Ah, hell no, I'm not dealing with this, said Naruto, jumping up into the air, letting his wings burst from his back, revealing the half-flaming devil wings. Leviathan's boyfriend's wings, they're so beautiful, squealed the girls from before. He's not my, spoke Seraphol, only for her voice to be drowned out. Naruto, seeing that this was going nowhere, flew down and grabbed Seraphol's hand before pulling her out of the crowd of devils before both of them vanished in a swirl of leaves. Where did they go? Questioned one of the fangirls, looking around. Somewhere on the other side of the city. Naruto and Seraphol appeared in a swirl of leaves. Naruto gently put the girl on the ground. She was turning slightly green. Sorry about that, it was the quickest way to get us out of there, said Naruto. Seraphol covered her mouth for a moment before her churning stomach calmed down, and she didn't feel as if she was going to throw up. No, that's fine, Naruto-kun, said Seraphol before once more holding her hand over her mouth while the other went to her stomach to try and clam the churning. Naruto just gave her a sympathetic look. He could still remember when he learned the Shunshin, he always felt sick until he got the technique down. Seraphol was doing better than he did, although that might be that she was a devil. That was fun, can we go again please, squealed Seraphol, jumping up and down next to Naruto. Well, I guess, but where are we headed? Asked Naruto. Seraphol jumped up and let her bat-like wings sprout out of her back before looking around to work out where they were. After a moment her wings vanished, and she dropped to the ground, landing next to Naruto with a grin on her face. So which way and how far? Questioned Naruto. That way, about 2 kilometers, said Seraphol, bouncing up and down, pointing behind her. Alright, we need to be touching for you to go, said Naruto, only for Seraphol to jump on his, wrapping her arms around his neck. Let's go, said Seraphol excitedly. Naruto smiled at her energy, and nodded before the two of them vanished in a swirl of leaves. The next day. So you want me to teach you elemental magic? Questioned Graphia, getting a nod from the blonde Nephilim in front of her. Yes, I really want to learn elemental magic, and I thought who better to ask than the best queen in the underworld, said Naruto with a grin. Flattery gets you nowhere, mister, said Graphia with a grin, poking Naruto in the chest each word. You caught me, said Naruto, holding his hands up. It's alright, Naruto-kun, I'll help you, said Graphia with a small smile. Naruto's face split into a grin. Thank you, said Naruto, hugging the silver-haired maid, who blushed slightly from the contact but forced the blush down, and gently pushed Naruto off herself. First thing first, what elements do you want to learn? Questioned Graphia, looking down at Naruto. I want to learn to make fire first. I can freely control it now thanks to my phoenix blood pyrokinesis, but I can't actually create fire, said Naruto, getting a nod from Graphia. Fire was one of the easiest elements to teach a devil. I also want to learn water magic because of my Citri blood, declared Naruto, once more getting a nod from Graphia. Ice is one I would like to learn as well because of a friend of mine who I haven't seen in ages, said Naruto with a semi-sad look in his face. Graphia noted the look but nodded. Wind magic would be nice to use as well, but that's not an essential, said Naruto. So basically you want to be able to use as many elements as possible? Questioned Graphia. Naruto just shook his head. No, just fire, water, ice, wind, and lightning, declared Naruto, getting a nod from Graphia. Well, luckily I can help you with all of those, said Graphia with a smile. Alright, exclaimed Naruto, happily jumping up. This could get messy, so let's head outside, said Graphia, getting a nod from Naruto, and like that the two walked out of the castle. When they got outside they found Tenten and Kiba staring both with grins on their faces, while Akino, Gaara and Rias looked on. Naruto and Graphia walked past the spar and headed for a relatively bare section of the grounds, nothing to burn should Naruto not have control of his fire. Alright Naruto, I want to see what you can do already, said Graphia. Naruto nodded and made his wings burst forth from his back before putting his hands out to collect some of the fire from his wings. Once he had a ball of fire in each hand, he put his hands in front of him, combining the two balls, making one larger ball of blue fire. Graphia watched on as Naruto then started manipulating the fire into various shapes, from a disc to a ring to a cartoon-style lightning bolt, even a sword. Alright, so your control is good, but the main thing you want is to learn how to make the fire without your wings out? Asked Grafia, getting a nod from Naruto. Okay, well, there are several ways we can start. Firstly, you could wear gloves specially made to cause friction when you click your fingers and then turn that friction into fireballs in your hand. This is simple and easy to pull off but can only create fire in your hands. The other method, said Grafia, turning around before holding her hand out. After a second, the air in front of her hand burst into flames, a fireball forming in her hand before bringing it back around facing Naruto. Is to learn to vibrate the molecules in the air fast enough that they burst into flames. This is the method most people use, excluding every member of the Phoenix clan, who simply do what you do now, gather fire from their wings to use, said Grafia. Naruto nodded, while he thought about which method he would like to try. Given that you have Phoenix blood in you, you might be able to learn the second method rather quickly because of the aerokinesis you should have also inherited, said Grafia. Naruto blinked before what she said clicked in his head. Alright, I'll give it a try, said Naruto. Grafia moved around behind Naruto. As he held up his hand to the side, he concentrated on the air in front of his hand. Clear your mind, came the whispered advice of Grafia in the blonde's ear. Naruto felt Grafia run a finger up his outstretched arm until her palm rested against the back of his hand. A moment after Grafia's hand reached his, the air in front of the blonde's hand burst into red flames before morphing into the shape of a ball where the flames went light blue. Naruto closed his hand around the fire before it burst forth from his clenched hand in the shape of a spear. Well done, Naruto-sama, said Grafia, confusing Naruto. It's just us, so why is? Thought Naruto until the question was answered when Naruto saw Millicast trying to hide around the corner while watching the two older devils. We know you're there, Millicast, what's up? Questioned Naruto, looking at the boy. I was just wondering what you and Grafio Basin are doing? Questioned the young redhead. Nothing to worry about, Milika-sama, I was just helping Naruto-sama with his fire magic, said Grafia. Obey-san, whined Millicast. Even if you are my godson, Milika-sama, you are still my master's son, so I will refer to you with the utmost respect until told otherwise by your father, said Grafia. I thought your mother was here, Millicast, why aren't you with her? Asked Naruto, looking confused at the young red-haired boy. She's with Tusan, said Millicast simply. Alright, well, if you plan to stay here you might want to stand back, said Naruto, turning around, holding his hand out once more, concentrating on the air in front of his hand. This time it took just a little bit less for the air to burst into flames once more, forming a ball of blue flame. Nisama? Came the voice of Millicast. Yes, Millicast? Asked Naruto. How come your fire is blue? All the other fire I have seen is red, orange, or yellow, asked Millicast. Naruto turned to face the devil with a raised eyebrow. That's a really good question. I don't know, Millicast declared Naruto before turning to Grafia. Do you have any idea, Grafia-chan? Questioned Naruto. I don't know, I have only seen one other user of blue flames, and she was a phoenix that I fought alongside in the last war, said Grafia. I guess we'll have to ask the members of the Phoenix clan next we see them, said Naruto. The blonde then once more turned back and began to practice his fire creation. Several hours later. Naruto sat at the dining table. Next to him sat Rias on one side and Kuroka on the other. On the other side of the table sat Surzex and his wife Selana. Grafia stood behind her master serving him and his wife. The two had dated for a while during the Great War, but once the war was over they simply couldn't keep their relationship together. After they broke up, Surzex had found a wonderful woman, a low-class devil at the time, now a mid-class, but she had refused to let it be revealed until she was a high-class devil. They did, however, still spend time together, but in the public's eyes they were just friends. At the head of the table sat Lord Gremory, and next to him sat Venilana. Next to Kuroka sat Chiron, and then next to her were Tenten and Gaara, while next to Rias sat Akino and Yudo. So Naruto-kun, you've been here a couple of months, have you made up your mind with what you plan to do? Asked Venilana. No, not really, I don't know what to do. All I know is I'm still bitter about what my village did to me, so I am in no rush to return to the elemental countries, declared Naruto. Well, maybe next year you could come to Ko with me, suggested Rias, looking at Naruto, a small blush spreading across her face. Maybe, I mean, it might help me come up with a plan for what I want to do, said Naruto, shrugging. Is that all anyone is to you, Naruto-kun, something to pass the time? Questioned Rias, faking a hurt tone. Rias-chan, I've been stripped of my identity, my purpose. I'm sorry if I seem insensitive, but all I am now is training, that's all I have left in my life, snapped Naruto. Everyone stopped whatever they were doing and looked at him. Sorry, that was rude, please excuse me, said Naruto, pushing back from the table before getting up and walking away. Kuroka, Chiron, and Rias all moved to follow him. Don't, declared Tenten. He's your brother, how can you not care? Questioned Rias, looking at Tenten. You think I don't care? I care so much, but he can't be helped right now, said Tenten. Tenten-san is right, Naruto-kun may be hurting but you can't help him right now, he needs to find a new path, said Vanillana. With Naruto. You okay, boss? Questioned a laughter within Naruto's mind. Yeah, I'm good, replied Naruto mentally as he walked outside. No, you're not, don't lie to us, said Kurama while Naruto was finding an isolated place before his hands exploded with blue fire. Slamming his hands together, Naruto created a huge ball of blue fire. Fine, I'm pissed, replied Naruto, jumped into the air, slamming the fireball into the ground, launching him 30 feet into the air before falling back to the ground. 1 week later. Will you accept this mission, Naruto? Asked Surzex. Well, like you said, there isn't really anyone else who could do it, said Naruto. Well, Gaara-san and Tenten-san could, but they might be unconscious for a week and a half like they were on when they got here, said Surzex. Which kind of defeats the purpose of having a guard detail, said Naruto. So you will do it? Questioned Surzex. Yeah, I will, said Naruto. Thank you, Naruto, said Surzex. No problem, when do we leave? Asked Naruto. Ajuka will be here this afternoon, so we need you to go to Phoenix Castle and pick up the Phoenix Tears, said Surzex. Naruto nodded and walked out of the room. Phoenix Castle. Naruto walked up the pathway towards the doors of Phoenix Castle. He had teleported there by teleportation circle. He was here to pick up several Phoenix Tears for his mission. Surzex had asked him to accompany Ajuka Beelzebub to heaven, trying to form the beginnings of an alliance between the angels and devils. The devils were giving the angels 5 Phoenix Tears as an act of good faith. Naruto was really the only devil who could accompany Ajuka, because only Satan-class devils could resist the holy lights of heaven and 2 Satan-class devils would put the angels on edge, so Naruto, who should be at the very least resistant to the holy lights because of his angelic blood while still strong enough to protect Ajuka if push came to shove, was the best choice to send. Naruto knocked on the doors to the Phoenix Castle, which were opened by a blonde man who had blue eyes and wore a red suit. Who are you? Asked the man snidely. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Lucifer-sama sent me to pick up the Phoenix Tears, said Naruto. You're the one Lucifer-sama is sending with Beelzebub-sama. You look like a breeze could blow you over, said the man like he was offended by Naruto's presence. Yes, well, Lucifer-sama has his reasons, declared Naruto. News of him may have spread around the underworld, but nothing had been said of his angelic blood. The only ones who knew about that were members of the Gremory household. Fine, follow me, brat, declared the man. Naruto had to use every fiber of his self-control to not just deck the other blonde in the face before incinerating him with his blue fire. Razor-sama, came a voice from an open doorway. Both blondes looked over to the voice. The owner of said voice was a woman who had long purple hair that looked very messy, and she was only covered by a white bedsheet. Yes, Yubelina? Questioned the blonde in front of Naruto. Come back to bed, I'm so lonely, said the woman sensually. Wait, this is Razor Phoenix, the person Rias is engaged to. Wondered Naruto to himself, looking at the man. I'll be there in a sexy, just wait for me, said Razor. The purple-haired girl walked back into the room with a slight limp and closed the door behind her. All right, brat, other duties call. My mother is waiting in the dining hall. Follow this hallway, take the first right, then follow that hall until the end, and it's the door on the left, said Razor. Before Naruto could say anything, the taller blonde had disappeared into the room the purple-haired woman was in. That's Rias's fiancé, no wonder she doesn't want to marry him, he's a pig, thought Naruto before following the man's directions, finding a woman waiting for him at a long table. Later that day, Gremory Castle. Naruto stood next to Ajuka. Standing in front of him was Rias, Akino, Yuro, Gaara, Tenten, Kuroka, Kaneko, Grafia, Surzex, Milikas, Vanillana, and Hikaru Aka, Lord Gremory. Well, you two, good luck, said Surzex, getting a nod from both the Satan-class devil and the Nephilim. Naruto, please promise me 2 things, said Rias, stepping up to the boy. Naruto raised his eyebrows, indicating he was listening. Promise you'll come back safe, and when you do you'll come to Ko with me, said Rias. To the first I will come back safe, I promise, and to the second I'll agree to that, but only if Gaara, Tenten, Kuroka and Chiron are allowed to attend there too, said Naruto. Rias nodded and then stepped back. You ready, Naruto? Asked Ajuka, looking down at the blonde who nodded. Well, off we go, said Ajuka as a transportation circle surrounded the two before they disappeared in a flash of light. Heaven. Naruto and Ajuka both appeared on a cloud outside a set of golden gates. After taking a second to adjust to the light, they both realized they were not alone. Good afternoon, Beelzebub-sama, Devil-san, said the woman who stood before them. She had long blonde hair that cascaded down from her head like a waterfall. She also had bright green eyes which shone with innocence. She was smiling brightly at the two devils. Greetings, Gabriel-sama, I take it Michael-sama sent you to escort us to him? Questioned Ajuka, getting a nod from the woman. Now the rest of the angels may attack you should you fly, so we will walk, said Gabriel, getting a nod from both devils. The voluptuous woman led the two devils through the streets of heaven. It took all of 5 minutes for the three of them to reach their destination. Ah, Beelzebub-sama, it's nice to see you, said a blond man standing outside what looked to be a huge cathedral. And to you too, Michael-sama, said Ijuka. Come, we have much to talk about, said Michael as the two walked into the cathedral behind them. Naruto and Gabriel stood there for a moment, neither saying anything to the other, however, after several minutes. So Gabriel-san, what are we, said Naruto, interrupted by Ijuka and Michael returning. Naruto, we have a problem, said Ijuka. What? Asked Naruto, scared of what it was. This may take a lot longer than planned, said Ijuka. How long? Asked Naruto. Several years longer, declared Ijuka. Naruto's eyes widened. What's the problem? Questioned Naruto. God is dead, said Ijuka. And? Questioned Naruto, shocking all three people before him. Hold on, why is God being dead not a shock to you, young devil? Questioned Michael. Because I got a letter from my father telling me my grandfather is dead, said Naruto, making all three people confused. Your father? Wait, your father was Minato-sama? Questioned Michael, getting a nod from Naruto. Then why are you with the devils rather than here with us? Questioned Gabriel. Because I am neither angel nor devil but a Nephilim, declared Naruto, letting his his 3 devil wings and 3 angel wings burst forth from his back. Naruto stood on a cloud that he had all to himself. It had been about a month since Naruto and Ijuka had been locked into heaven. Apparently, even with Naruto already knowing the angels couldn't risk knowledge of God's death getting out, so the devil and Nephilim had been locked in heaven until such as Ijuka was finished. Not that the Beelzebub was bothered by it, he had a project to work on, he was fine. Naruto, on the other hand, was going stir crazy. The only saving grace for him was that his habits from Konoha were still with him, hence he had all of his things with him, including the scrolls given to him by Jiraiya and Tsunade, along with all of the stuff from his parents' house, which were turning out to be quite useful. Naruto pulled Alastor off his back, flicking the blade in front of him, where while in midair it glowed gold and split into two, one forming Alastor's humanoid form, the other keeping the blade form. Alastor caught the blade and stood opposite Naruto, who stood ready to charge at the sword's spirit. Naruto pointed his palm towards Alastor, and about halfway between the two of them the air burst into flames, which Naruto directed towards Alastor, who jumped back from the fire only for the red flames to turn blue and form a ring around the sword's spirit. The ring shrunk only for Alastor to jump up out of the way of the shrinking ring of fire. Too slow, declared Naruto, who hung in the air above the now airborne Alastor. Naruto front flipped, slamming his heel into Alastor's head, sending the man rocketing back down into the cloud through the leftover ball of blue fire. NGGH fuck, groaned Alastor, pushing himself up off the ground, only to throw himself sideways when a foot impacted the ground where his head used to be. Naruto jumped back as Alastor swung his blade around at him. The blonde quickly pulled out a pair of kunai ready to defend himself as Alastor flew at him, ready to take off his master's head. Naruto blocked the blade as his sword attacked him. The two were forced to jump back as a bolt of lightning courtesy of Alastor hit shot at the ground where they both were moments before. Naruto put one of his kunai away in his weapon pouch before putting his hand out to the side and began running at Alastor. As he moved, a Rasengan began to form in Naruto's hand. Once the orb had finished forming, Naruto created a fire in the air in front of the Rasengan, which then the orb hit. The flames were absorbed into the chakra attack, coating the Rasengan in fire. Naruto got within 2 steps of Alastor, who held his sword in a blocking position. The blonde Nephilim brought his kunai to the blade, knocking it out of his way enough for him to slam his attack into Alastor's gut. Rasenhai Bakudan, spiraling fire bomb, called Naruto as the attack hit. Alastor was hit with the ball before it exploded, launching him backwards into the air where his wings sprouted, and he hung there waiting for Naruto to join him in an aerial battle. Naruto, seeing Alastor hanging in the air, let his 6 wings sprout from his back as he shot off the ground and flew at the devil weapon, who sent down bolts of lightning to stop his master from getting to him, but the blonde was quickly proving to be quite evasive, dodging all of the bolts of lightning while his hand became cloaked in a red and black aura. Naruto flew up to Alastor, and using his fingers each individually cloaked in the red and black aura, slashed at his sword's spirit, who blocked with the blade. Naruto flew backwards away from his smirking opponent. Well, it looks like I underestimated you a bit, Alastor, said Naruto. You shouldn't do that when I take devil form. I usually am at a similar power to my master, said Alastor. That explains you being able to take that Rasenhai Bakudan, spiraling fire bomb, declared Naruto, getting a nod from the humanoid sword spirit. Naruto then once more had to move out of the way as lightning tried to strike him. Naruto, with the kunai at the ready held in a backhanded grip, charged at his sword spirit. Alastor brought his blade up and set about striking Naruto as he got close. However, that is exactly what Naruto wanted him to do. Naruto flew in and blocked the strike with the blade of his kunai. Turning sideways, Naruto pushed his kunai around Alastor's blade, pushing the weapon forwards, loosening the devil's grip on his weapon, which Naruto took advantage of, grabbing the back end of the hilt before ripping the sword out of Alastor's hand, kicking the sword spirit in the chest, making him let go of the blade, leaving Naruto holding the sword like it was a spear. Naruto flipped the blade in his hand so it was in a normal grip. Alastor looked on in shock, only for Naruto to fling his kunai at the sword spirit. However, Naruto wasn't done with the kunai, and his now free hand purple energy gathered, and a few seconds before the blade could hit Alastor, the purple orb arced out and hit the ring of the kunai, electrifying it with purple lightning. However, despite the power on the blade, sailed past the terrified Alastor. The blonde Nephilim didn't give Alastor time to recover. In an instant he was in front of the now disarmed sword spirit, and slashed across his chest from his right shoulder to left hip, and then in an instant left shoulder to right hip, giving the devil a perfect X-shaped scar. Naruto then with his free hand slammed a bone-splintering punch into the devil's head, sending him rocketing into the cloud below them. As the devil hit, he exploded into gold light. That hurt like hell, master, said Alastor from within Naruto's mind. That was an incomplete form of a technique my godmother made, replied Naruto. Incomplete? How strong is it in its complete form? Questioned the sword spirit. Well, with one finger she created a 40-foot wide crater that in the center was a foot deep, replied Naruto, shocking the sword spirit. Whoa, that was intense, came a voice from behind Naruto. The blonde Nephilim turned and came face to face with a blonde-haired, green-eyed man. He wore priest-like clothes and on the whole had an air of laziness around him. You must be that Nephilim everyone is talking about, said the man, looking at the blonde while his hands resided in the pockets of his pants. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze is at your service, said Naruto with an overdramatic bow to the man. I'm Dulio Gesualdo, nice to meet ya, declared Dulio, sticking his hand out lazily for a shake. Naruto smiled and shook the man's hand. Several months later, Naruto stood on a cloud. In front of him stood Gabriel, who was smiling innocently at him. Most of the angels had become fond of Naruto and his pure heart, but the angel Naruto had become closest to out of all of them was Gabriel. For sure the two of them were friends, which is why we find Naruto standing before the voluptuous woman. So are you ready, Naruto-kun? Asked Gabriel. Naruto nodded and created about 50 Kage Bunshins. Something interesting Naruto had discovered about the Kage Bunshin was the fact that memories gained by the clone were sent back to him when they dispelled. However, while this was helpful, it served him no purpose in training his angelic/devil magic, as the clone had no magical power, only chakra. However, they had proved quite helpful as targets for his practicing. Gabriel had been helping Naruto with his angelic blood, teaching him the basics of how to use his powers. The first thing he had learnt was the creation of light-based weapons, which he could almost do in his sleep now, but now the Seraph was teaching Naruto some other magic. So Naruto-kun, for fire magic you need to, began Gabriel, only for Naruto to hold up a hand. I can do fire magic, Gabriel-chan, it's holy flames that I can't, said Naruto, getting a nod from the woman. Right, sorry, said Gabriel, waving Naruto off. Naruto smiled and nodded. Well, holy fire is created by adding the fire to light-based weapons, sort of, it's a well putting them together, said Gabriel, not sounding too sure of herself. This is how training with Gabriel had been for Naruto. She would say what he needed to do but in a roundabout fashion, but he still got the basic ideas from her explanation eventually. So combining the light magic with the fire magic? Questioned Naruto, getting a nod from Gabriel before she looked down. I don't see why you keep asking me to help you, I can't explain stuff right, said Gabriel, looking sad. Naruto walked up to her and hugged her. Your explanations are fine, Gabriel-chan, and besides, when would we be able to hang out otherwise? Questioned Naruto. Gabriel looked at Naruto with a smile. Naruto smiled back before letting her go, and stepping back both smiled before bursting out laughing. Months later, Naruto walked along the streets of heaven. The cloudy home of the angels reminded him of not quite a bustling city, but it wasn't quite a quiet town either, it was somewhere in between. He was looking for some form of clothing store. The jumpsuit he had been wearing since he left home was starting to get on his nerves. After Kurama had destroyed the seals on him, he had been getting smarter and smarter, which is the reason he was looking for new clothes. The amount of orange on him was beginning to annoy him. Did he still like orange? Yes, but he didn't so much orange. Oh, there we go, muttered Naruto, spotting what looked like a clothing store, or at least a tailor, which would work for him. Walking into the store, Naruto found that it was both. Can I help you today, Naruto-sama? Questioned the man behind the counter. Naruto sighed. He was really getting sick of the angels calling him Sama, but he shook his head and turned to the man. Yes, I'm looking for a new outfit, something with less orange and some black and white, said Naruto with a smile. The angel nodded and stepped out from behind the counter before leading Naruto to the male section. The first thing Naruto saw was a black trench coat. Quickly walking over to it, Naruto pulled the coat off the rack. Excellent choice, that coat is made of a macroweave metal wire and cotton. It would stop a sword blade, resist fire elemental attacks and has been imbued with magic that makes it grow with the wearer and repair itself from damage over time, said the angel next to Naruto. The blonde raised an eyebrow at that but shrugged and hung the jacket over his shoulder before moving on and looking at shirts. The only thing that stood out to him as a plain and simple orange shirt, nothing special about it, but it worked for Naruto so he didn't really care, and for a pair of pants Naruto found a pair of black and white camo pattern pants. After picking out the outfit he quickly went to the change rooms to change. Looks good Naruto-sama, said the angel when Naruto stepped out of the change room. Naruto looked down at himself before shrugging. Yeah, it works, said Naruto before turning to the angel. So how much? Asked Naruto. About a year later. Naruto and Dulio stood opposite each other. The two were engaged in a spar. After their initial meeting, whenever Dulio was in heaven, he and Naruto would spar. More often than not, Naruto would come out the victor, but both knew the story could be very different were they in a place where Dulio could influence the weather with his sacred gear. Naruto and Ijuka had been in heaven for 2.5 years now, and while it was nice, Naruto was really beginning to miss his friends. While it was true he had made a few friends in heaven, Dulio for one, Gabriel along with Michael and most of the other seraphim, and a few of the other exorcists, he missed the devils that had begun to shape his new path. Naruto-kun, Michael-sama and Ijuka-sama have asked to see you, came the soft voice of Gabriel from behind the blonde. Naruto turned to her and nodded before turning back to Dulio. I guess this is it for now, said Naruto. Phew, okay senpai, I'll see you later, said Dulio, who dropped down and lazily rested on the cloud below him. Naruto then turned back to Gabriel and nodded. Both of them let their wings sprout from their backs, Gabriel's 6 pairs of golden wings and Naruto's now 4 pairs of 1 golden wing and 1 devil wing. The two flew over the streets with the other angels waving up at the two of them. Naruto and Gabriel politely waved back. Naruto, having been in heaven for 2.5 years, had become a welcome sight to the angels. The two blondes landed outside the cathedral where Michael and Ijuka stood waiting for them. Michael-sama, Beelzebub-sama, said Naruto, bowing. Ah, Naruto-kun, excellent, we were just talking about you, said Michael. Oh? What about me? Questioned Naruto. Your heritage, Naruto-kun, as the biological grandson of God, myself and the other seraphim feel that you should be the first to bring back the angels, said Michael, holding out a small stack of cards to Naruto. I am honored, Michael-sama, but I can't accept, said Naruto, looking down. Why, Naruto-kun? Asked Gabriel from behind the Nephilim. Because while I have angelic blood, I am no angel. I would bring shame to the angels. If I were a pure-blooded angel, I would have fallen years ago, and even now I am not without sin. No, I can't be the father of the new angels, said Naruto, looking down. I have broken 2 of the angels' greatest taboos. I am always envious of those who have blood family, as I have never known the love of a father or mother, and I am wrathful. I have been banished from my home, which I now plan to declare war on because they banished me. I cannot allow angels to follow me, said Naruto. No, Naruto-kun, you are the perfect angel, even if you want to deny it. You're envious of those with family, so you try to give those without one in the form of you and your own, and you told me the story of your banishment, and it has taken you 3 years to decide that you want to fight them. That's not wrath, that is justice. They banish you because of fear, not because you needed to be. You had to take 3 years to understand your feelings towards those in that village, and even now, despite the fact that you say you want to declare war on the village, I can sense that it isn't the village as a whole, it's just those who wished your demise from their own fear, said Michael, giving Naruto a hard look while still holding the stack of cards out to Naruto. The blonde himself shied away from Michael's hard gaze, looking to Gabriel, who nodded to the Nephilim. Naruto sighed and turned back to Michael and took the cards from his hand. The cards are the angelic equivalent of the evil pieces system. You hold in your hand, Naruto, the early stage of the brave saint system, said Ijuka with a grin, feeling proud of himself. Naruto turned the cards over, finding they were normal playing cards, however they were of 1 suit plus a joker. The suit Naruto had was the hearts. I know it's this way, but Naruto, we need to know that the cards work the way we think they should, so we want you to convert someone, said Michael. Who am I supposed to convert? It's not like I have met anyone here who isn't already an angel. You want me to convert an exorcist, don't you? Questioned Naruto, getting a nod from Ijuka and Michael. Do I get to pick, or have you selected one for me to convert? Questioned Naruto. Well, it has to be one of the ones you met, not, said Michael, stopping when Naruto held up his hand. Dulio, declared Naruto. Michael nodded. He suspected that would be Naruto's choice. Gabriel-chan, please fetch Dulio for us, said Michael. A few days later. Naruto once more was on a cloud, however this time Dulio, his new joker, was lounging around nearby, and Naruto had a purpose other than training. Alright, Dulio, I'm going to do this now. Make sure no one who may come interrupts me, said Naruto as he sat ready to go into his mindscape. You got it, bossman, said Dulio, not even lifting his head, just holding up a thumbs up. With that said, Naruto closed his eyes and descended into his mindscape. Mindscape. Naruto walked towards Kurama's cage. Are you sure about this, Kurama? Questioned Naruto, looking up at the great beast. Yes, Naruto, this way I can help you out even more. We can work together, and you would probably be able to learn the magic of this world's yokai, said Kurama. Naruto nodded and willed the water under him upwards to pull the tag off the cage. As he pulled the corner of the paper up, a shadow blurred out of nowhere and tackled Naruto to the ground. Yelled Naruto. Yes, Naruto, it's me, Ugh, said the man, only to be slugged in the gut. I'll deal with you in a moment, said Naruto, going back to the cage, before this time fully pulling off the tag despite protests from the man below him. What now, Kurama and I? Questioned Naruto. Kurama put a claw through the cage, only the tip of the claw touching the blonde's forehead. Naruto once more dropped to the ground and walked over to the man. Naruto, you can't, began the man. You know nothing about me or him. Unlock the cage now, ordered Naruto. Naruto, I can't do, once more began the man, only for Naruto to charge up a Rasenhai Bakudan. Now, yelled Naruto. Minto Namikaze, I swear on the Sage of Six Paths I am not influencing your son. Unseal the cage and I will help you understand, said Kurama. Minato hesitantly stood up and walked over to his son. Lift your shirt, said Minato. Naruto did as instructed, and Minato, lighting up his hand with chakra, unlocked the seal on Naruto's stomach, once more only for a shadow to burst out of nowhere and tackle Naruto. Naruchan, cried a female voice. Keikawa-chan? Questioned the younger blonde. Naruto and Ijuka appeared once more in Gremory Castle. The two had just left heaven. Ah, it's good to be back, said Naruto, stretching his limbs before looking around. Where is everyone? Questioned Naruto, looking around, stretching out his senses, not feeling anyone but the maids in the castle. Maybe they're at some form of gathering, suggested Ijuka before walking forwards. Well, this has been an experience, Naruto-san. Good day, said Ijuka before walking out of the room. Just as he walked out of the room, Grafia walked in. Naruto-kun, said Grafia, shocked him as she walked into the room. Hey Grafia-chan, said Naruto with a wave. Where is everyone? Questioned Naruto. Everyone is at Phoenix Castle for Ria-sama's engagement, said Grafia, making Naruto narrow his eyes. Then Alana-sama asked me to give this to you when you got back, said Grafia, handing Naruto a letter. Thanks, Grafia, said Naruto, taking the letter. Grafia watched as Naruto opened and read the letter. His eyes narrowed before going wide. Naruto pocketed the letter before running to the door. Grafia followed as best she could. The two of them ran out the door, and the second they were outside, a pair of devil wings sprouted out of Naruto's back and he shot up into the sky before shooting off towards Phoenix Castle. Phoenix Castle Ballroom. Tenten, Gaara, Kuroka and Chiron stood with Risa's peerage, all of whom were looking sad. Damn it, why can't we do something, growled the brown-haired boy, glaring at the table. This was Issei Hayate. He was Risa's pawns, all of them, and the holder of the boosted gear. Issei, spoke the blonde girl next to Issei, trying to calm him down. The blonde girl was Asia Argento, and she was Risa's bishop and holder of the Twilight Healing Sacred Gear. Rias should have let us help, growled Kuroka, glaring at her clenched fist. She would have only been able to let Chiron-chan help. Rias already has her second bishop, even if he wasn't there for the raiding game, said Akino, trying not to break something. Hello everyone and welcome to the engagement party, said Razor, who appeared from a magic circle at the front of the room. Akino, Yuto, Issei, Asia, Gaara, Tenten, Kuroka, Chiron and even several more devils glared at the man as he made his flashy entrance. And now let me introduce my bride-to-be, said Razor with a smirk plastered on his face, only for another magic circle to appear next to the man before dropping to the floor, revealing a wedding dress-clad Rias, who looked very unhappy to be both in the wedding dress and her current position. Well, said Razor, interrupted when the doors were blown off their hinges and in walked Naruto, his form cloaked in a red and black glow. Hello everyone, so sorry to interrupt, but this engagement is over, declared the blonde. Naruto called Yuto, Akino, Gaara, Tenten, Kuroka, Chiron and Rias. The red-haired bride-to-be ran from her position next to Razor and tackled Naruto, who hugged the girl back as the rest of his friends came over to him. Where the hell have you been? Questioned Rias, looking at Naruto with tears staining her eyes. Beelzebub-sama's progress was delayed in the angles and we weren't allowed to leave. I'm sorry I was away for so long, said Naruto, letting go of Rias, who stepped back, letting Kuroka and Chiron hug the blonde tightly. And who are you to call an end to this historic engagement? Questioned Razor, glaring at Naruto, who turned back to the Phoenix, letting go of his two peerage members. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, that's who, said Naruto, glaring at Razor. Well, that doesn't answer my question, Uzumaki-san, declared Razor, sarcastically spitting out his name. Why would I just call an end to this engagement? Questioned Razor, jumping from the stage. Because you're going to have no other choice, said Naruto. Oh, and why's that? Questioned Razor. Because you and I are going to fight this out, said Naruto, stepping forwards towards Razor. And why would I do that? I already have what I want. What could you possibly have to offer me? Questioned Razor, coming within meters of Naruto. Is that all you see Rias as a prize to be won? Do you even love her? Questioned Naruto. Of course I love her. I mean, what type of man wouldn't love a body like that? Spat Razor as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. That's what I thought, Sai. What is it that I have that you would want? Well, I'm standing here giving you an opportunity to put me in my place. I've stepped on your pride multiple times, being the one sent to heaven with Beelzebub-sama. And then when I get back I come right here and interrupt your engagement. That should be enough reason for you, or are you going to prove to the world you're a chicken and back out? Questioned Naruto with a smirk. Razor growled. Naruto had a point. Fine, you wanna fight, you're on, declared Razor. Well, in that case we might want to adjourn to the stadium, declared Surzex, stepping up to the two, only getting a nod as a response before everyone began moving towards the stadium. Who is this guy? Questioned Issei, looking to Yuto for answers. That is Naruto-senpai. He is a devil of multiple clans who was born in the elemental nations like Tenten-san and Gara-san. In fact, it was him that brought those two here, said Yuto. And he is the person Rias loves, even if she's not willing to admit that to anyone, said Akino, walking over to the two of them. He's also mine and Chiron's king, said Kuroka, stepping next to the members of Rias's peerage. Is it really alright to trust him with this? Questioned Issei, looking at Rias. Let us put it this way, if he cannot save Rias, she was not meant to be saved, declared Gara, appearing next to Akino. Naruto himself stood with Rias, who was standing with Sona Citri and Saror Bale. So this is the Naruto Uzumaki I have heard so much about? Questioned Sarorg, looking Naruto up and down, analyzing him. You don't look like much, said the Bale heir with a smirk. You just wait a few minutes, I'll make you eat those words, said Naruto with a smirk before both men broke into bouts of laughter. It's a pleasure to meet you, Naruto-san. Rias and my sister talk about you often, said Sona. Ah, so that makes you Sona, Seraph's little sister, said Naruto with a grin. Sona just nodded. Well, it's nice to meet you too, said Naruto. Naruto-kun, please be careful, this is Razor, he's not some weak opponent you can easily beat with no effort, said Rias, scared for her friend and her future. Naruto was her last hope and she knew it. Naruto placed a hand on her shoulder. Just calm down, Rias, I know what I'm doing, said Naruto before Sarorg pulled he blonde away just out of hearing distance of the two female devils. Naruto, you saved my cousin, you've made yourself a friend for life, said Sarorg to the blonde. I didn't need that encouragement to save her, she is a person, she has her right to choose who she loves, said Naruto. Sarorg just nodded. Naruto, Razor's ready to begin, said Surzex. Naruto turned to the man and nodded. Well, time to go, said Naruto, vanishing in a magical circle, appearing in an arena with all of the guests from the party in the stands around the stadium, and opposite Naruto stood Razor. Naruto Uzumaki, you have challenged Razor Phoenix, what do you claim should you win this bout? Came the voice of Surzex over the whole arena. An end to this engagement, and for Rias Gremory to be free of any future marriage contracts, declared Naruto. Should you win it shall be so, but until then let the match begin, declared Surzex. Naruto smirked as he looked at Razor, who was patiently waiting for Naruto to attack him. The second you accepted my challenge, Razor, you lost, said Naruto with a smirk. Oh, and why is that? Questioned Razor, smirking to himself, only for that smirk to fall when Naruto reached into his shirt. Razor's expression dropped entirely when he saw what Naruto pulled out of his shirt. Impossible, no devil can hold a holy artifact, declared Razor as he spotted within Naruto's hand a cross necklace. Naruto's smirk widened. You're right, no devil can, said Naruto. Then how? Questioned Razor. I'm not a devil, well, at least not fully. I am a walking contradiction. I am what comes from the union of angels and devils. I am a Nephilim, declared Naruto, letting his 4 pairs of golden angel and devil wings burst from his back. Everyone in the crowd, excluding Rias, her family, Kuroka, Chiron, Tenten and Gara, all wore shocked expressions. Everyone was shocked to their core. Now, while it could be fun to incinerate you with holy flames, said Naruto, snapping the fingers on his right hand, making a ball of white flames appear above his palm. I think normal devil fire will work just fine, said Naruto, snapping the fingers on his left hand, making a ball of blue fire appear above his hand. BL Blue F fire? Questioned Razor, who by this point knew he was totally and utterly screwed. Yeah, and? Questioned Naruto, making Razor realize Naruto had no idea what the blue fire signified, nor did anyone else in the audience, excluding the members of the Phoenix clan, who were now even more shocked/terrified. Naruto's wings vanished before the blonde ran forwards, the ball of blue fire in his hand, Razor backed up at the speed of the younger blonde. Razor threw balls of fire at Naruto, who jumped into the air. Razor threw another ball at the blonde, who shot up and to the side to avoid the attack. Razor threw yet another fireball at Naruto, who again vanished, reappearing about 50 foot over the place. He kicked off the ground, head facing the ground. Naruto then began to fall towards the ground head first. To the shock of everyone watching, Razor's thrown fireballs came flying back towards him and turning light blue. Razor jumped back from the fireballs which followed him. Naruto lobbed his own, adding a fourth one, and just as Razor landed on the ground, all 4 blue fireballs slammed into him, engulfing him in a fireball that exploded upwards, sending up a 20-foot tower of fire. Razor screaming all the while the flames burned him. Once the flames dies down, Razor fell to the ground. If glares could kill, Naruto would have dropped dead 10 times over from the glare sent his way. "I'm going to kill you, brat," growled Razor, pushing himself to his feet. Naruto drew his sword from his back. Razor's wings burst forth from his back and he shot forwards at Naruto. "Not happening," declared Naruto as purple lightning gathered into a ball in his hand. Before a second later, the lightning shot from Naruto's hand and hit Razor, making him drop to the ground, convulsing as the purple bolts arced from his skin into the ground. Before Razor could get up, Naruto was standing above him, 1 foot on the phoenix's back. The other Naruto used to kick him in the face, knocking him unconscious. The whole crowd went dead silent and watched in awe. The next morning, Naruto woke up in his bed in Gremory Castle. The blonde went to sit up only for his left arm to not move with the rest of him. Naruto flicked the covers of his bed only to see a naked Rias lying next to him. "What the?" questioned Naruto, looking down at Rias, whose eyes fluttered open, and she looked up at Naruto. "Morning, Naruto," said Rias, sitting up and stretching, making her bare breasts jiggle. Naruto looked away from the naked form of Rias. "Would you please just put some clothes on?" pleaded Naruto. "What's the matter, Naruto-kun, you don't want to see me?" questioned Rias. Naruto just spluttered out, and Rias just giggled and got out of the bed, her hips swaying as she walked to the door and disappeared out the door and heading to her own room. Naruto sighed and shook his head before getting up. About an hour later, Naruto walked down the halls of Gremory Castle. He was looking for Lord Gremory. There was something he needed to do. Naruto called a voice from behind him. Naruto turned and saw Tenten and Gaara with Kuroka and Chiron. "Hey guys, what's up?" questioned Naruto. "This will be the last time we ask this. Please let us help you, let us join your peerage," said Tenten. "If you don't, Rias has offered us positions in hers," said Gaara. "Fine, come with me," said Naruto, walking towards his room. "Wait, did he just say yes?" questioned Tenten, looking back at the 2 Nikomatas. "I think he did," said Gaara before he quickly jogged to catch up to Naruto. 20 minutes later, Naruto just finished converting both Tenten and Gaara, who were both confused. "What was with the cards?" questioned Tenten. "I'll explain later. What I'm more interested in is why I can feel the blood of a god running in your veins," said Naruto, looking at Tenten. "A god?" questioned Tenten. "Holy blood, but not the blood of my grandfather, so from one of the other gods," said Naruto, looking at Tenten before closing his eyes, trying to narrow down on which one. It was at that moment the doors to the room were almost broken off their hinges and in came Surzex in a battle-ready stance. "Oh Naruto, Tenten, Gaara, sorry, I just felt a Grim Reaper suddenly appear here. I was worried," said Surzex. "Are Grim Reapers holy beings?" questioned Naruto. Having never met a Grim Reaper, he didn't know. "They are the servants of Hades, so yes, I believe that they would be classed as holy beings." "Why?" questioned Surzex. "I believe we have solved 2 problems, your Grim Reaper suddenly appearing and Tenten's holy blood. However, that leaves the question, how is Tenten a Grim Reaper?" said Naruto, making everyone turn to either Naruto or Tenten with a look of shock. "Are Grim Reapers' weapons traditionally scythes?" questioned Tenten tentatively. Once more getting a nod from Surzex, Tenten took a deep breath before reaching into her pouch, pulling out a scroll. Quickly unfurling the scroll, Tenten revealed a sealing matrix on the paper. Before anyone could ask, Tenten pushed chakra into the seal, and in a plume of smoke a scythe appeared atop the scroll. The pole of the scythe was about 5 foot long, with what looked like a skull where the pole met the blade. The blade itself was a pitch black with small red runes on it. Everyone could feel a strange aura from the weapon. "From my limited interaction with the Grim Reapers, that could be a Reaper's scythe," said Surzex. "In that case, my biological mother was a Grim Reaper," declared Tenten. Several hours later, Naruto, Tenten, Gaara, Kuroka and Chiron stood at a vine and moss-covered temple-looking structure within the Gremory Castle grounds. This was the portal between dimensions, or at least the temple holding such. "Tell Rias I'm sorry, I just need a week before I can fulfill our promise," said Naruto, turning to face Lord Gremory, who nodded to Naruto as he and his peerage stepped into the temple and activated the portal. A big red and black orb appeared before them and sucked them into it. Elemental Nations. Naruto, Tenten and Gaara stepped out of the portal to the familiar sight of the ruins of Yuzushiogakure. However, Kuroka and Chiron looked around confused. Come on, we need to get to the surface, said Naruto, walking to the stairs up and out of the tower they were currently in. Once outside, Naruto reached into his weapon pouch and pulled out a weapon that only Tenten recognized. Is that a began Tenten, only to be interrupted when Naruto threw it into the ground. Not a minute later, just next to the kunai, an angelic magical circle appeared, making the devils tense before the circle dropped to the ground, revealing 3 people. Gaara and Tenten were both shocked to see one of the people, as they both knew he was supposed to be dead. Ka-chan Tusen, said Naruto as he stepped forwards into the embrace of the red-haired woman and the blue-eyed blonde. Tenten stood there gaping like a fish. Your father was the Yondaime Hokage? Questioned Tenten, absolutely shocked. Yep, said Naruto. Why are your parents both angels? I thought for you to be a Nephilim there have to be a devil and an angel. Questioned Chiron. Yes, well, I had to revive these 2, and the only thing I had handy at the time were my cards for my brave saints, said Naruto before Tenten and Gaara blinked before looking at him confused. Yes, you 2 in addition to the knight, and 3 pawns for my devil peerage. I used my ace and 4 and 8, said Naruto. What the hell are the brave saint cards? Questioned Kuroka. They are essentially the angelic equivalent of the evil pieces system, both of which were developed by Beelzebub-sama, said Naruto. Alright Naruto, what's going on? Why have you gathered us all here? Questioned Delio. Because today we declare war on Konoha, declared Naruto. I think I'm going to have to get my ears checked because I swear I just heard you say that we were going to declare war on Konoha, said Tenten, cleaning her ear with her pinky. No, Tenten, that is what I said, declared Naruto. How the hell are the 8 of us supposed to fight an entire village? Questioned Tenten. Fight an entire village? I said declare war, not fight the war, said Naruto. If we're not fighting them, then why are we going there? Questioned Gaara. Because there is a person in the village who wasn't there when we left that I want to join us, and Tusan suspects there is more to some of the crises within Konoha's recent history than meets the eye, and I have to know if he is right before we actually begin to fight with Konoha, said Naruto. Several hours later, Naruto and his 2 peerages all stood in a tree far enough away from Konoha that no sensor would be able to sense them, but close enough that they could see the gate, as the gate was an integral part to the plan. When Naruto noted there were enough people but not too many around the gate, he turned to Delio and Kuroka, nodding to both. They dropped from the branch and began walking towards the gate. Damn it, Delio, you're so fucking lazy, yelled Kuroka as she and Delio reached the gate. Kuroka-chan, please, said Delio, walking closer to the woman only for her to push him away. No, not again, Delio, said Kuroka. Meanwhile, back in the tree, the others watched on in fascination. That's pretty good acting, said Naruto, nodding as he watched the 2 argue. Yeah, not bad indeed, agreed Tenten. Naruto watched closely as more and more people gathered around the bickering couple when enough people were distracted and crowding around to watch the spectacle. Gaara, Chiron, you 2 are up, said Naruto, turning and nodding to the 2 of them before the nodding to Minato, who placed both hands on their shoulders before all 3 vanished. Barrier Corps Headquarters. Minato, Chiron, and Gaara all appeared in the room, and before anyone noticed, Minato had already gone again, while it was by now that the people within the room had turned to Chiron, who had a cat tail and a pair of cat ears coming out of her tailbone and top of her head respectively, while Gaara's sand was slowly leaking out of his gourd. Who are you and what are you doing here? Ordered one of the men within the room. We are no one and we're here to stop you from leaving, said Gaara emotionlessly. He had no problem massacring the people in the room, but Naruto had told him to do that ID only absolutely necessary. Yeah, how are you going to do that? Questioned one man, going to push Chiron out of the way only for her to grab his hand and flip the man over herself, slamming him into the ground before flipping him back over her head and back onto the ground in front of her. Everyone got up prepared to attack them, only for sand to float around all of them. Oh god, that's him, that's Gaara of the desert, said one of the people, finally recognizing Gaara. That's right, so just sit there, and this will all be over soon, said Gaara, almost daring anyone to disobey him. Back with everyone else. Minato appeared back on the branch of the tree, ready to move on to the next person. Alright, Tenten, you're up, said Naruto, turning to his surrogate sister, who nodded as Minato put a hand on her shoulder, and like that the 2 vanished. The 2 appeared by the hospital, where Minato vanished again, returning to Naruto and Kushina. Meanwhile, Tenten dropped low to the ground and pulled some explosive tags out of her weapons pouch and began to place them around the building in places only people actually looking for these special tags would find them. The tags were designed to be fairer than explosive. There was still a small explosion, but less than normal tags. After tagging the hospital, Tenten walked away from the building nonchalantly before heading towards the academy. However, as she drew closer to the grounds, she slipped into an alleyway and quickly flipped through hand signs. Henj no Jutsu, Transformation Jutsu, whispered Tenten as she was cloaked in smoke, which when parted revealed a young girl, maybe 7. Tenten had picked this so she would seem less suspicious when she walked into the academy grounds, and like she did with the hospital, she began to place the modified explosive tags all around the place, on the academy building, in the free academy training grounds, and even on the fences around the academy. After the area was sufficiently tagged, Tenten left the area and moved to the market district. When she arrived at the market district, she began running around like a child while stealthily planting tags on lots of the stands, mostly the ones that had refused to serve Naruto for the QB. Once at least half of the market had been tagged, Tenten left the area heading for the front gates, still under the guise of the small child. When she got there, several hundred people had gathered in the area. Tenten pushed through the crowd of people before she got to the front. Auntie Kuroka, Uncle Dulio, called Tenten in her disguised form, running up to them. Aki-chan, said Kuroka excitedly, turning to the girl and kneeling down as the disguised Tenten ran into her arms. Got everywhere, no troubles? Questioned Kuroka quietly. Yes and no, A and B, let's leave now, whispered Tenten. Come on Dulio, let's go, said Kuroka harshly before walking out of Konoha and away from the gates. Several moments prior, with Naruto and Kushina. Naruto continued watching over Dulio and Kuroka to make sure nothing happened when he felt his father once more appear on the branch. Ka-chan, you're up, and remember, seal everything and meet me at training ground 28, said Naruto, turning to his mother, who nodded before she and Minato disappeared from the area. Storage room, Hokage Tower. Kushina and Minato appeared in a dark storage room that they were both familiar with. Are you trying to tell me something, Minato Namikaze? Questioned Kushina with a teasing smirk. Minato was confused but then remembered. Right, no sorry Kushi-chan, well sorry if you wanted to do that. Now this is the only room in the tower other than the office I have tagged, said Minato nervously, knowing full well what Kushina meant. The reason Minato had a seemingly random storage room tagged while not having other rooms tagged was because, well, to put it politely, this was Minato and Kushina's fun room. Naruto could have very well been conceived in that room. They had celebrated Minato's promotion to Hokage with a nice long fuck and found this rather out-of-the-way room, which since that day they slowly but surely turned the room into a secret fucking room, hiding various seals around the room that did various things. Silencing seals that were hidden behind a painting above the door, a storage seal with a bed to make things more comfortable, hell, even a couple of storage seals with various objects to make their time together more kinky. Go Minato, I was messing with you, said Kushina with a smile and a roll of the eyes before Minato vanished. Kushina then turned back to face the room. Well, might as well get some of our stuff back, said Kushina with a smirk. Back with Naruto and Minato. Minato once more appeared on the tree where Naruto was. Are you sure just anywhere in the red light is okay to drop you? That place is, began Minato. The only place where no one will report seeing me in the village, and is the safest place for me, said Naruto, getting a nod from Minato, who placed his hand on his son's shoulder, and the two vanished from outside the village. A bar in the red light district. Naruto and Minato appeared in a bar in the red light. Everyone turned to see Naruto and Minato. Naruto? Questioned the man behind the bar. Yep, it's me, and I hope I don't have to tell you lot not to mention this to the Hokage, said Naruto, getting a nod from all of the people within the bar, who then just turned back to their drinks. Minato turned to Naruto before vanishing. Top of Hokage Tower. Minato appeared at the top of the Hokage Tower, ready to do what he had asked Naruto to let him do, which was break into the Hokage's office and look through the secure files about recent events, trying to get to the bottom of things. He had told Hiruzen to not reveal Naruto's status to anyone, yet it was revealed. He knew about the Uchiha, but knew Hiruzen would have been able to talk Fugaku down before any extreme measures were taken, and there were several other shady things he wished to check. There was one person that he could think of behind such events, but he wanted to be sure before telling Naruto, and the blonde focused solely on him, only for it to be a false lead. Minato crouched low and waited for the signal for him to begin. With Naruto. Naruto walked out of the bar and began walking towards his destination. Naruto waved to the people as he walked past, who all waved and smiled at the blonde. However, he did have a schedule to keep to, so he jumped to the nearest roof and then began roof hopping towards an apartment complex. He really hoped she wasn't working now. As Naruto walked into the apartment building, he sighed, remembering his childhood trips to this place. After walking up several flights of stairs, Naruto stopped and walked to the end of a hallway. The blonde took a deep breath before turning the door handle. Finding it unlocked, Naruto stepped inside the apartment. Naruto walked into the main room of the apartment, and he saw just who he had been looking for. Enko-nichan, said Naruto with a smile, looking at the back of the woman, who turned around so fast that had you blinked you would have seen no movement. And Naruto, stuttered Enko, looking at the blonde, shocked. Hey Nei-chan, said Naruto with a smile and tears beginning to form in his eyes before he couldn't take it and ran to her and wrapped his arms around her. I miss you, Nei-chan, said Naruto, hugging Anko, who hugged the boy back despite the dango and sake in her hands. What the hell are you doing here, Naruto? If someone catches you, they'll kill you, declared Anko. I'm back because I want you to come with me, declared Naruto, looking up at Anko. Why would you want me with you now and not back when you left? Questioned Anko. I always wanted you with me, Nei-chan. What brother wouldn't want his big sister with him? You were out of the village when I left, said Naruto. Good, where are we going? Asked Anko. Really, just like that? Asked Naruto. What, you said you wanted me to come with you? Why are you arguing against it? Questioned Anko. It's just I thought you had a life and friends here that you wouldn't want to leave behind, said Naruto. Naruto, you and Tenten were my life. When you left, I lost all of my friends because of how depressed I got. You're lucky you're back today. Tomorrow I was going to end it all, said Anko, looking down. Naruto hugged the woman tighter. Pack what you need, Nei-chan. We leave as soon as possible, said Naruto. Anko walked into her room, returning seconds later with a scroll. That was quick, said Naruto. Well, since you were banished, we lost many alliances. I had most of my stuff packed in case I was next or you came back for me, said Anko. Naruto nodded before taking Anko's hand before pulling her out of the apartment and out of the building. The second they walked outside, several loud explosions went off around the village. Anko looked around looking for the source. However, the second she saw Naruto's lack of reaction, she figured out he had a hand in the explosion, so she left it alone and followed the young blonde with Kushina. The red-haired Uzumaki had finished sealing all of her and Minato's toys and was waiting for her signal. Stretching out her senses, she could still feel the many people in the tower. She had to wait for the explosions BOM to go off. Kushina silently walked closer to the door as she felt people begin to leave their posts in the tower. She felt most of the people in her way begin to leave. She had guessed that there would be people that wouldn't leave, but thankfully all Bar 2 A and B units were gone past the door of the room. Time to get to work, muttered Kushina, walking out the door stealthily before turning right to head down further into the depths of the tower. Arriving on the floor she found two masked men standing at the other end of the hallway by a door. Both of them were shocked. Kushina-sama? Questioned both men, only to be knocked out as the red-haired woman sped down the hallway and slamming both A and Bu's heads into the wall behind them, knocking them unconscious as they fell to the ground. I'm sorry you two, but I need to get in here, said Kushina, opening the door both men had been guarding. Inside she saw the room full of scrolls. The Hokage's personal library, muttered Kushina as she began quickly sealing all of the scrolls within the room inside a scroll of her own. With Minato same time. Minato slipped through the open window of the Hokage's office. Tsunade, along with her 3A and BU guarding her, had left presumably to either find out about the explosions or find out why the barrier corps didn't tell her a bomber was in the village. Either way, Minato only had a little time. He quickly went through the desk, reaching into the secret operations compartment of the desk, trying to find what he needed to know. He knew from personal experience that these files were meant to be as confusing as possible so that they couldn't be stolen like Minato semi-planned to. Mianto's senses went off when he felt several people returning to the office, so he quickly did what he should have in the first place and placed all of the files on a special scroll which he pushed chakra into before the scroll copied everything in the files. Minato, after the transfer was complete, put the files back in the desk and flashed back to the room he left Kushina in, just in time as just a second later Shizen and Tsunade walked through the doors. Minato, after flashing to the room, stepped out. Minako said, a voice from beside him. He turned to see Kushina, who was running towards him. Are you done? Questioned Minato, getting a nod from his wife, so with that the two took each other's hand and they ran up and out of the Hokage tower to find people scrambling around the place. Come on, we need to get to training ground 28, said Minato, grabbing Kushina's hand, and the two ran towards the training ground. When the husband and wife reached the training ground, they saw a Hyuga boy who looked to be about Naruto and Tenten's age walking away calmly. Walking past him calmly, Minato and Kushina found Naruto with a woman waiting for them. Anko-chan? Questioned Kushina, getting the woman's attention once again. Anko spun around at a ridiculously fast speed. Kushina-sensei? Questioned Anko, looking shocked to see her sensei alive. But how you died in the Kyuubi attack, said Anko. That'd be me, said Naruto nervously, making Anko turn to him. How? Asked Anko. We'll explain later, but for now you have to leave with them, and don't worry, I'll be along shortly. I just have a message to deliver first, said Naruto, his mood growing dark at the mention of his message. Remember to pick up Gaara and Chiron, said Naruto before reaching into one of his weapon pouches and pulling out a mask which covered the top half of his face with black glass covering the eyes, and a beak-like construct sitting over his nose. It was purple and black in color, the purple being tribal-like markings all over the mask. When Naruto put the mask on his face, his whiskers just vanished from his cheeks. "Alright, you 3 time to go," said Naruto before Minato put his hands on Anko and Kushina's shoulders before vanishing. Naruto sighed before he let his 4 pairs of wings burst from his back before flying, shooting up into the air above Konoha. "People of Konoha, I am your angel of death, and this attack on your pathetic village was my doing," called Naruto from up in the air, letting his devil blood deepen his voice so it was unrecognizable. "Why would you attack us and then reveal yourself?" came the voice of a nearby Jonin. "Because as of today you and your village will need to be forever on your guard, because as of today we are at war," declared Naruto. "Katan Gokaku no Jutsu, Fire-style Fireball Jutsu," called a random Jonin, shooting a fireball at Naruto only for the fireball to snake away from the original fireball, turning light blue as it spun around Naruto. The blue fire then shot out in a ring, slamming into the taller parts of Konoha, and when the populace of Konoha looked back to the disguised Naruto, they saw nothing but some fallen golden feathers. Naruto appeared in a teleportation circle just outside a house surrounded by trees. Walking inside, Naruto saw everyone was waiting, most likely for him. "Welcome back, Naruto," came the monotone voice of Gaara. Everyone turned to the blonde Nephilim. "Naruto, tell me now what those explosions were, and don't act like you don't know. I saw you had no reaction to them, which means you had something to do with them," ordered Anko. "They were a distraction and a preemptive strike," said Naruto. "Speaking of distractions," said Kushina, pulling a scroll out of her pocket before tossing it to Naruto. "What was it a preemptive strike for?" asked Anko. "I declared war on Konoha," said Naruto. "You what?" screamed Anko. "I declared war on Konoha," repeated Naruto simply. "Naruto, of all the things you've done, this is the stupidest. How do you plan on fighting one of the 5 great nations?" questioned Anko. "Easy, I have these people around me. Also, from my new home I have many people willing to pick up a blade, flare up a flame, or rain down chaos for me, and I plan to isolate Konoha from the rest of the elemental nations, by allying myself with them," said Naruto with a sigh. "Your new home?" questioned Anko. "Yes, my home among devils, angels, fallen angels, and humans," said Naruto, getting a raised eyebrow from Anko. "Everyone in this room besides you, Anko, is one of 3 species," said Naruto. "What 3 species?" questioned Anko. "Angels, devils, or a hybrid of both," Nephilim declared Naruto, letting his 4 pairs of wings flare out. 20 minutes later. Anko, having been caught up on what she needed to know with some demonstrations of the actual angelic or devil powers, stood in front of Naruto shocked. "Are you wanting me to join one of your peerages?" asked Anko, getting a nod from Naruto. "Which one?" inquired the purple-haired snake charmer. "You were my guardian angel when I was younger. I want you to take that position again," said Naruto with soft smile to the woman, who smiled and nodded. Naruto reached into his pocket and pulled out a scroll. Unfurling it, a sealing matrix was revealed. Pumping chakra into the scroll, a small stack of cards and several chess pieces appeared atop the sealing matrix. Naruto pulled the deck of cards off with his free hand before resealing his chess pieces. Flipping through the cards, Naruto pulled 2 seemingly random cards out of the stack before flicking them at Anko, both of which she caught between 2 fingers just in front of her face. She looked at the cards. 5 and 9? questioned Anko, looking at the cards. "The cards I'm going to use to reincarnate you," said Naruto with a smile, putting his scroll down. "Please lay down so we can get this started," said Naruto. Anko nodded and lay down. "This isn't going to hurt, right?" asked Anko, looking at Naruto. "I'm not sure, does it?" asked Naruto, looking at all of the other people in the room. "No, not at all. It makes you feel tingly, but that's about it," declared Kushina. Naruto turned back to Anko, who was nodding. "Okay, let's get this started," declared Naruto, taking the 2 cards from Anko before putting them on her chest. "Just lay back, Anko-nichan," said Naruto. Anko nodded and calmly lay down. "I command death thee as Naruto Uzumaki. Mine command, Anko Mitarashi, is thy shall watch over me as my guardian angel as thy did when I was young. I seal this contract. Be reborn," declared Naruto. Anko glowed white as the cards vanished into her chest. When she stood up, 5 pairs of white wings burst forth from her back, but everyone was drawn to the rings on her fingers that began glowing. "I thought so," muttered Naruto, looking at the rings. What is it, Ototo?" asked Anko, looking at her hands. "No way," muttered Minato, looking at the rings. "What?" asked Anko. "Those rings," muttered Kushina, pointing to the rings. "What about them?" questioned Anko. I told you when I was younger, Anko, that I didn't think they were a Kekei Genkai. Now I know they're not, said Naruto with a smile. What are they then? Asked Anko. The sacred gear Twilight Healing, a healing power capable of healing angels, humans, fallen angels, and devils, muttered Minato, still in shock. Wow, that sounds pretty cool, said Anko with a grin. And very helpful, said Naruto with a smirk. Wait, how does she have a sacred gear? I thought only humans from the overworld in the next dimension could get them, questioned Tenten. Well, that would have been true had angels and devils not traveled to this dimension. The sacred gear essentially bleed into this world, giving some people them. I'm surprised that you don't know, Tenten. You have two and Gaara has one, said Minato. What? Screamed Tenten. Gaara was more calm about it, but even he, the ever-stoic Jinchuriki's eyes widened in shock. What, you didn't know? Questioned Minato. Both ninjas shook their heads. Minato turned to Naruto. You didn't tell them? Asked Minato. I wasn't sure they were sacred gears. I thought Gaara's was something to do with Shikaku, and Tenten's I wasn't sure what it was. It doesn't feel like Twilight Healing, said Naruto. Well, now that we know, we can have you two trained to use them, said Naruto. How? Asked Gaara. You want to concentrate your magical power, not your chakra but magical power, on your hands while thinking of the strongest image you can think of, said Naruto. Both Tenten and Gaara closed their eyes and began racking their brains for an image. Gaara at first thought of Shikaku, but the second he did, another image shattered the first. The second image was a beaten and broken Naruto crying while crawling, only using his chin towards the beaten Gaara after their battle. Gaara felt a massive surge of power in his hands. Opening his eyes, Gaara saw that on his hands were a pair of gauntlets. The gauntlets went from the tips of his fingers to his elbows. They were pitch black with blue tribal markings running over them that looked like flowing ice. An eye on the back of the hands with yellow irises and a star-pointed pupil. On each of the palms of the gauntlets there was a half of a yin and yang symbol. Yin outlined with white on his left palm, and yang on the right. Tenten felt the surge of power from Gaara but ignored it for concentrating on her own image. Coincidentally, hers too involved Naruto. However, hers was of a much younger Naruto, a beaten-up Naruto standing between her and the cruel matron of the orphanage, stopping the woman from punishing Tenten for something she didn't do. Everyone felt two surges from Tenten, who floated up off the ground a couple of inches as light gathered around her left hand and darkness around her right. It took a moment before those two energies formed into a shape each, the light forming the hilt of a sword, with the left forming a whole sword. Chaos Zone, Blade Blacksmith, Sword Birth, muttered Naruto, watching his two friends. With that said, the room got quiet. The silence was broken when Naruto moved towards the door. Where are you going, Naruto-kun? Asked Kuroka. There is someone else I have to see, said Naruto before turning to his parents. Could you two take a look at Gaara's seal? I don't want Shikaku taking over him at some point, said Naruto, getting a nod from his father. You lot just lay low, train if you want, but we need to wait. I still have business to settle in Konoha, said Naruto, walking out the door. Once outside, Naruto looked around before stretching out his senses. Finding no shinobi in the area, Naruto jumped to the trees and began tree hopping off towards his destination wave. Several hours later. Dropping from the sky as his wings vanished, Naruto landed on the shoreline with a thud. The blonde, about an hour into his journey, he had spread his wings, feeling no ninja anywhere nearby, and knowing they wouldn't come that far out less than a day after the attack. Naruto walked along the bridge with a grin on his face. No matter how many times he saw it, he would still feel proud of the fact the bridge was named after him. I hope she's home, muttered Naruto to himself, as he walked along the streets of Wave, waving to the people who waved to him. Naruto walked to the outskirts of the town, where he found a house by itself. The blonde Nephilim knocked on the door. Coming came the voice from the other side of the door before the door was opened, and Naruto was met by a woman his own age. She had long black hair and brown eyes which were wide open in shock. And Naruto-kun? Questioned the woman. It's good to see you again, Haku-chan, said Naruto with a smile before he was pulled into a hug. And you, Naruto, I haven't seen you in ages. How come you didn't come to see me when you were here last time? Asked Haku, holding her friend an arm's length back. I'm sorry, Haku-chan, I wasn't in my right mind then, said Naruto. It took you 3 years to come into your right mind? Questioned Haku. Almost, said Naruto. So what can I do for you, Naruto-kun? Asked Haku. I've declared war on Konoha, began Naruto. I'm not surprised, and if you're asking for my help I will, said Haku, interrupting and surprising Naruto. What, you seem surprised, Naruto? You're the reason I'm still alive. I told you that day after we buried Zabuza that if you ever needed my help I would be more than willing, said Haku, getting a nod from Naruto. Alright, but let me explain what I need first, because you may change your mind, said Naruto. Would you like some tea? This seems like it will be a long explanation? questioned Haku. Yes and yes, said Naruto. Haku nodded and stood up, walking into the kitchen, Naruto following after her. The place I should really start is I'm not human, said Naruto, making Haku turn to him. I always got the feeling there was more to you than meets the eye, said Haku before getting back on track with the tea. First of all, I'm a Jinchuriki, said Naruto, stopping when he heard a glass shatter. That's why, oh Naruto-kun, I'm so sorry, said Haku, once more pulling Naruto into a hug. It's okay, Haku-chan, I have people around me who accept me for me, said Naruto with a half-hearted smile. The two stayed in the hug for a moment before separating. Anyway, I am the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, and I am also a Nephilim, a hybrid of an angel and devil, said Naruto, getting a nod from Haku. Both angels and devils originate from another world. The Uzumaki clan, as they came to be known here, were originally offshoots of several devil clans who didn't want to fight anymore, so they came here to live in peace. And it was that very action that brought the angels here. They were suspicious that the devils were up to no good, so they sent my father to explore and hopefully uncover what the devils were doing, said Naruto, getting a nod from Haku, who began to pour the now ready tea into 2 cups, before handing one to Naruto. Thank you, now that explains why they were in this world. Now back in their own world, angels, devils, and a third faction of fallen angels were at war, which threatened the survival of the races. So once the war ended, they had to come to a way to bring them back to prosperity. The fallen angels were the only ones that could actively do this, as they could tempt angels to fall, which would bolster their numbers. A talented devil then came up with a brilliant idea of reincarnating people into devils. Unfortunately, the leaders at the time were prudes and forbid the technology, for fear of polluting the devil blood, but after an uprising the original Satans were overthrown and the technology was distributed to all high-class devils, which is what I am when considering my devil blood. Eventually the angels heard about this and tried and failed to duplicate it. When the devils and angels began peace talks, the angels requested help and it was granted. I went along to act as a bodyguard to the devil, and given my lineage I was chosen to have the first set of the angelic equivalent, said Naruto. You want to reincarnate me as a devil or an angel? Questioned Haku, getting a nod from Naruto. Yes, I want to reincarnate you as one of my angels. You would be joining my angel peerage. We would travel back to the other world. We'd still do missions and stuff like that. And I would need your help in my war with Konoha, said Naruto, looking at Haku, who simply smiled at the blonde in front of her. Of course, Naruto, I told you before, if you needed me I would be more than willing to help, said Haku with a smile. Naruto smiled at her. Alright, I'll reincarnate you and then leave you to pack what you need and say your goodbyes. Then at the end of the week my peerages and I will get here and you can join us from then, okay? Questioned Naruto, getting a nod from Haku. Naruto once more pulled his scroll out, unsealing his deck of cards. Naruto this time pulled out the 3 and 7 cards. Lay down, Haku, this might feel a little bit strange, said Naruto, gently laying his friend down before placing the 2 cards on her chest. I command death thee as Naruto Uzumaki. Mine command, Hakuyuki, is thy shall fight by my side to protect my ideals forever as an angel. I seal this contract. Be reborn, declared Naruto. The cards glowed white before sinking into Haku's skin as the girl herself began glowing as well, and within moments the glowing subsided, but out of Haku's back shot 3 pairs of white wings. What's with the wings? Asked Haku. Oh, the number of wings indicates the power a person has, said Naruto, letting his own wings flare out, showing his 4 pairs of wings. Haku raised an eyebrow at him. What? Asked Naruto. How many wings do you really have, Naruto? Asked Haku. Naruto sighed. I should have learned by now, I can't get anything past you, said Naruto, letting another 11 pairs of wings flare out from his back. Why were you hiding your power, Naruto? Asked Haku. Several hours later. It's getting late, Naruto, do you want to stay the night? Asked Haku. I suppose I should. It's not really a good idea for me to be caught in Konoha territory in case they put 2 and 2 together, said Naruto. What? Asked Haku. If I get caught in Konoha territory they may realize that I was the one to attack them earlier today, said Naruto. You attacked them today? Asked Haku. Yeah, a preemptive strike, that was a combined attack and distraction, said Naruto. So what happened? Asked Haku. The next morning. Naruto waved back at Haku as he began walking towards the Great Naruto Bridge. After Naruto left, Haku went back inside and began packing her stuff. Naruto meanwhile was already on the other side of Wave. Once Naruto reached the other side of the bridge he stretched out his senses once more. Finding no ninja in his field of sensing, he let his wings sprout from his back before taking off towards the safe house. Several hours later. Naruto landed in front of the safe house, making his wings vanish before he walked into the house. And Naruto-kun, said Kuroka as she spotted him. Not even a second later Naruto was on his back, a crying Kuroka hugging him, while also pinning him to the ground. Hey, Kuroka-chan, what's wrong? Questioned Naruto, rubbing Kuroka's back. You didn't come back last night. I was so scared. I don't know what I would have do without you, Naruto-kun, said Kuroka, nuzzling into his neck, letting tears slide down her face. You'd be fine, Kuroka-chan, you don't need me, said Naruto with a smile, only for Kuroka to pull back from him, shaking her head. No, Naruto-kun, I wouldn't be fine without you. I need you in my life, Naruto-kun. I love you, said Kuroka. Why you what? Questioned Naruto, his eyes wide as Kuroka's tears fell onto his face. Naruto, I love you, said Kuroka, nervously looking down at Naruto. Kuroka was shocked when Naruto reached up and began caressing her cheek lightly. Kuroka began to purr, and she leaned down. Naruto leaned upwards and their lips met halfway in a chaste kiss. Kuroka's eyes fluttered closed as she lost herself in the kiss. After a moment, much too soon in Kuroka's opinion, the two of them parted. I love you too, Nikoheim, whispered Naruto to Kuroka, who then nuzzled into his neck. Oh, Naruto-chan, you're back, said Kushina, walking into the room, seeing Kuroka lying on top of Naruto, who had his arms wrapped around Kuroka. You just got back, said Naruto with a smile. Naruto stood in a clearing near the safe house. He had all 15 pairs of wings flared out. He had his eyes closed. His eyes snapped open and his wings vanished when he felt two people enter his sensing range, and not a moment later Minto and Kushina walked into the clearing. Both of them looked a little roughed up. Kushina carrying an ominous mask in her hand and had a slash across her stomach, which had obviously been bleeding if the dried blood was anything to go by, and Minato looked like he had been in a fist fight with someone. Ka-chan, Tusan, what happened? Questioned Naruto, running over to the two of them. We released a part of my soul and Kurama-san's soul that was locked in the Shinigami's stomach, declared Minato. How? Questioned Naruto. This, said Kushina, holding up the mask in her hand. It's the mask of the Shinigami, and when the mask is worn you can summon the Shinigami and release any souls it's consumed by slicing his stomach, but the mask wearer suffers the same damage as the Shinigami, so if you slice open his stomach your stomach gets sliced open, said Kushina, indicating to her cut abdomen. Why would you two do that? You could have got hurt? Asked Naruto. Kurama said that if he was given the rest of his chakra it could extend his time, said Minato. Flashback. Naruto stood up looking at his mother who had just appeared and hugged him. Keika-chan? Questioned Naruto, unbelieving, looking at his mother. She just smiled and nodded to her son. Ka-chan, yelled Naruto, hugging his mother. Hey, how come she gets a hug and I get a punch in the gut? Questioned Minato with his arms crossed. She didn't seal him in me in a village that had just been attacked by him, declared Naruto, pointing his thumb at Kurama while glaring at Minato. No offense, Kurama-ni, said Naruto, turning to face the giant nine-tailed fox. None taken, Ototo, declared the gargantuan fox. I'm sorry, Naruto, there was no other way, declared Minato. Naruto let go of Kushina and walked over to his father, who braced himself to get another punch to the gut before Naruto hugged him. I know, but that doesn't mean I like it, declared Naruto, hugging his father. So I take it, given the fact that you're referring to Kyuubi, began Kushina. Kurama, declared both the fox himself and Naruto, interrupting Kushina. Right, Kurama, well, given you're referring to him as Kurama-ni, you're not going to fight him, said Kushina. No, declared Naruto. Well, this could be a little bit, began Minato. I know, Minato, the seal once removed was designed to absorb my chakra into Naruto's system, hence killing me, declared Kurama. What? Questioned Naruto, looking up at the fox. The seal was designed to kill me, Naruto. I'm sorry for lying to you, but I've had a long life and you have shown me what it's like to have a brother, perhaps even a son, and because of my yukai you would never live past the age of 20 unless it was integrated into your system fully. Besides, we still have until my yukai is absorbed into your system, declared Kurama with a toothy grin. Is there any way we could prolong the time? Questioned Naruto desperately. I suppose if I had all of my yukai it could in theory extend the time, as there would be more yukai to absorb, muttered Kurama. Well, it looks like we're leaving you in good hands, Naruto, said Kushina as she and Minato began to fade. Keika-chan, Tusan, what's going on? Questioned Naruto, looking at his fading parents. The last of our chakra is fading. This is goodbye, Naruto, said Minato. Ka-chan, Tusan, no, declared Naruto, running over to them. Naruto, use your cards, said Kurama, making Naruto look back to him confused. Your brave saints' cards, you can manifest them here, use them to revive them, declared Kurama. Flashback end. Why you did this so I could have more time with Kurama and I? Questioned Naruto, getting a nod from both his parents. I love you too, said Naruto, running over to the two of them, hugging them both. Lay down, Naruto, and I'll transfer the rest of Kurama's Yukai to you, said Minato. Naruto lay down on his back as Minato lifted both his own shirt and Naruto's shirt, showing a seal on each of their stomachs. Minato lit his fingers up with chakra before unlocking his seal, and then gathering all of the Kyuubi's Yukai in his hand, he transferred the Yukai to Naruto's seal, before both of them lost consciousness, Minato from chakra exhaustion and Naruto from chakra overload. Naruto's mindscape. Naruto woke up in his mindscape. Once he realized where he was, he jumped up and ran towards Kurama's cage. Kurama, did it work? Asked Naruto as he skidded to a stop in front of Fox, who was now twice as big but laying down. Hey Naruto, said Kurama, looking down at Naruto. Did it work? Did it work? Questioned Naruto excitedly, only for that optimism to fail at the shaking of Kurama's head. Actually, it had the opposite effect. I should have realized that having all of my Yukai back would speed up the process because I don't need to gather Yukai to replace the missing Yukai anymore, said Kurama. How long do you have? Questioned Naruto. About a month maybe, said Kurama, sadly looking down at Naruto. Several days later. Naruto stood in a clearing outside of Konoha, far enough that sensors wouldn't pick him up but close enough that someone could be training here. He was waiting for a particular Konoha genin to show themselves. He did trust the ninja, but he still had his senses flared out, making sure that he hadn't been betrayed. Hello Naruto-san, said a voice from behind Naruto. Naruto turned around. Hello Niji? Flashback. Naruto and Anko ran into Training Ground 28 only to hear the telltale signs of someone training. Damn it, muttered Naruto, looking around, cursing himself for not choosing another training ground like the Forest of Death or any other isolated training ground. In the midst of his internal cursing, a familiar face appeared. Hello Naruto-san, said Niji as he appeared in front of Naruto, who dropped into a fighting stance. Are you going to fight me, Niji? Asked Naruto, glaring at the Hyuga. No Naruto-san, I do not wish to fight you, however I must ask why you are back in the village? Questioned Niji. I came back for someone I didn't take with me when I left the first time, said Naruto, narrowing his eyes. And that's why you said of the explosions around the village? Questioned Niji, only for Naruto to narrow his eyes further. Why did you do that, Naruto? Asked Niji. This village is corrupt, Niji, and someone needs to purge the corruption before this village implodes, and if it has to be me, then so be it, declared Naruto, glaring at Niji. Naruto-san, if that is your goal, I wish to join you, said Niji. Why would you want to give up your life here to join me, possibly on the run for the rest of our more than likely short lives? Asked Naruto. Naruto-san, since your banishment, Konoha has gone downhill. We lost almost all of our alliances. The ninja of the village are scared of failing missions because of the punishment you got for the failure. The truth is, since your banishment, this village had begun spiraling towards implosion. I would like to help you, even if it is a mission in futility, said Niji. Niji, if you come with me, you will more than likely have to fight people from this village, possibly even members of your own family, said Naruto. I know, Naruto, but if that is the price of the corruption of Konoha being purged, then so be it, declared Niji, interrupting Naruto. Alright Niji, if you are okay with leaving everything from here behind, meet me at this clearing in a week's time, said Naruto, pulling out a map of the area outside of Konoha and pointing to a clearing. Niji nodded. Until then, my friend, said Niji, walking out of the clearing. Flashback end. Brought someone with us, did we, Niji? Questioned Naruto. What, no I didn't, said Niji, confused. Yes, Naruto, he didn't bring me, I followed him, said a female voice from behind Niji. Shikia-san? Questioned Niji, turning to face the girl. Why are you here, Shikia? Asked Naruto, narrowing his eyes. I want to know your reasoning for attacking Konoha before I tell you why I'm here, said Shikia. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Konoha has become corrupt, and I plan to isolate Konoha from the rest of the elemental nations before purging the corrupt from Konoha, said Naruto. With just you and Niji? Questioned Shikia. No, I have more people at my side than just Niji. Now Shikia, why are you here? Questioned Naruto. I want to help you, Naruto. It's my fault you got banished, and I have seen the corruption of Konoha especially after you were banished, said Shikia. Shikia, it's not your fault I got banished. The council had been waiting for any opportunity to banish me for, said Naruto, not really willing to say. The Kyuubi, finished Shikia. Naruto's eyes widened. Please Naruto, I've known since a week after we started at the academy, said Shikia. If you worked that out that quickly, then you should know damn well that me being banished wasn't your fault, declared Naruto. No, Naruto, it was my fault. The failure of the mission was my fault, and the failure of the Sasuke retrieval mission was the excuse they used to banish you. If my leadership had been better, then they wouldn't have had that, and you'd still be in the village, said Shirkia. I honestly don't care anymore. I'll be perfectly honest with you, Shikia-chan. That banishment has been the best thing to happen in my life. I have made many friends because of it, and I have found a place where I am accepted for me, said Naruto. I still feel guilty about what happened, Naruto, please, said Shirkia. How did you even find out about this, or did you just feel something off about Neji and follow him? Asked Naruto. Flashback. It had been about an hour since the explosions had gone off, and we find all of the remaining members of the Konoha 11 standing together in a training ground with their sensei. Everyone was breathing a sigh of relief seeing everyone was there, and alive. Shirkia looked at Neji. Seeing him alone, she quietly walked over to him. Hey Neji, said Shirkia. Shikia-san, said Neji, nodding to the girl. I saw you earlier today coming out of the training ground that out angel of death came flying out of, said Shirkia. Neji kept calm and cast a curious sideways glance at the girl. However, in his head he was freaking out, wondering what she was going to say. So how was Naruto? Questioned Shirkia, making Neji freeze as he looked over to her. What? Was Neji's intelligent reply. I asked how Naruto was? Probed Shirkia. What makes you think I've seen Naruto? Questioned Neji. That response, declared Shirkia. Fine, yes, I have seen Naruto recently. Why are you asking? Asked Neji. What is he doing? Why did he attack us? Interrogated Shirkia. What are you talking about? You're acting like Naruto was the angel, demanded Neji. Neji, I know it was Naruto, it's too much of a coincidence otherwise, said Shirkia. I don't know what you're talking about, said Neji. Flashback end. Neji had been acting suspicious since then, said Shirkia. So have you just been tailing him for the last week? Asked Naruto. I figured he would stay put until the heat died down, which an attack of that magnitude would be about 5 days, and even then the gate guards would be suspicious for a while, so I figured a week would be about right, said Shirkia. Well, if you are wanting to come with us, I'm going to guess you have what you need packed and with you. Questioned Naruto, looking at her. Shirkia nodded. Alright, you two grab my hands, said Naruto, getting a nod from the two, each of them taking a hold of Naruto's hands before a teleportation ring formed under them before raising from the ground, making the three of them vanish. Not a moment too soon either, as less than a minute later a few A and BU members swept through the clearing. Safe house. Naruto, Shirkia and Neji appeared in a teleportation ring inside the house in front of the rest of Naruto's peerages. Alright, you lot, pack up your stuff, we leave shorty, said Naruto. Naruto-kun, who's this? Asked Kuroka, hugging his arm between her cleavage. Kuroka, this is Neji and this is Shirkia. Guys, this is my girlfriend Kuroka, said Naruto, introducing the two newest members of his crusade to Kuroka. Now Neji, Shirkia, there is something that I need to explain to the two of you, declared Naruto, sitting down with Kuroka sitting in his lap while Shirkia and Neji sat down opposite them. What? Asked Neji. I am a Nephilim, began Naruto. Several hours later, Naruto and his two peerages walked along the Great Naruto Bridge, having left after Naruto reincarnated both Neji and Shirkia, Neji joining his devils, Shirkia the angels. Naruto lead the angels, devils and Nephilim through the land of waves towards Haku's home. Again, all of the people waved to Naruto as he walked past. Naruto-kun, you seem popular here, said Kuroka, hugging him as they walked. Well, my team and I helped these people on our fist mission out of the village, said Naruto with a smile. So is this friend someone you helped from here? Asked Shirkia. Not really, she was originally one of the enemy ninja, said Naruto. Only you could befriend an enemy ninja in enemy territory, declared Neji. Well, unlike you, I didn't have to kick her ass first, stated Naruto with a smirk back to Neji. So how did you even become friends with an enemy then? Questioned Minato, raising an eyebrow. Well, when I first met her face to face, she wasn't an enemy, she was just a girl helping a sick friend. And then when we actually had to fight, she was masked. Once the mask was shattered, I recognized her, and we got to talking and we found we had a lot in common. However, we were still enemies, but she refused to fight me given I had tapped into the Kyuubi's power, making her feel like the power gap was insurmountable. I refused to kill her, so I knocked her unconscious, and while she was unconscious, Kakashi-sensei killed her master, said Naruto. And when I woke up, he convinced me to live for myself. However, I promised him that if he ever needed me, I would be there to help, said Haku, finishing off Naruto's story as the group of them arrived at Haku's house during Naruto's story. Everyone, this is Haku, said Naruto, introducing the girl. Nice to meet you all, said Haku with a small wave. Okay, we'll have time to get acquainted later. For now, we should really leave, said Naruto, getting a nod from everyone. Naruto then walked to the center of the group, and then a ring formed around all of their feet before raising up, engulfing everyone. Yuzushi Ogakure. The teleportation ring fell, revealing Naruto and his two peerages back just outside of the Yuzukage Tower. Alright everyone, this is the portal to the underworld now. While it is true that the angels and devils are at peace at this point, it's an uneasy truce, so pure angels will have to go to heaven until I get to the overworld in the other dimension, said Naruto, getting a nod from everyone. It should only be a day or two at the most, said Naruto before looking to his father. Alright angels with me, said Minato, as Kushina, Dulio, Anko, Haku and Shirkia walked over to Minato, and then they vanished in yet another teleportation circle. Naruto then led the rest of his friends down into the basement of the tower, where he flared his devil magical power, and the portal opened up, sucking in everyone in the room into it. Underworld. Naruto and his peerage appeared from the portal to find a maid waiting for them. Naruto-sama, Gremory-sama wishes to speak with you before you leave for the overworld, spoke Graphia. The maids had been tasked with waiting for Naruto to return in order to tell him that Lord Gremory needed to speak with him. Graphia had just happened to be the one waiting for him at the time. Thanks Graphia, said Naruto as he pushed himself to his feet. 5 minutes later, Gremory Castle, Lord Gremory's office. Graphia said you needed to see me, said Naruto, poking his head into the office. Oh Naruto, yes, come in, said Lord Gremory. Now Naruto, I need to tell you something important, declared Lord Gremory. I don't like the sounds of this, muttered Naruto. You have been put into an arranged marriage with Revel Phoenix, stated Lord Gremory. What? What the hell are you thinking? Did you learn nothing from my reaction to Rias's engagement, let alone my own? Screamed Naruto, his 15 pairs of wings flaring from his back. Now Naruto, calm down, I need to explain something first, said Lord Gremory, trying to calm Naruto down. Alright, what? Declared Naruto, calming down slightly. This isn't the same type of engagement as Rias and Razor's. You will have Revel as a part of your peerage for a couple of months. If no sparks of romance occur between the two of you, it will be called off, simple as that, said Lord Gremory. Alright, I suppose I can deal with that, grumbled Naruto, standing up. Good Lady Phoenix is expecting you at any time, but you have to go and see her before you go, said Lord Gremory. Naruto nodded before walking out the door. 20 minutes later, Phoenix Castle. Naruto walked up to the castle. He was on his own, feeling that none of the members of his peerage would like the idea of one of the Phoenix being part of his peerage, particularly the sister of the Phoenix that tried to force Rias to marry him, nor did he think his peerage would be particularly receptive to the idea that he might be wed to said Phoenix, especially Kuroka. Naruto knocked on the doors, which was opened within seconds by a maid. Lady Phoenix is expecting me? Said Naruto, somewhat confused. Naruto-sama, yes, follow me, said the maid, opening the door and leading Naruto to the dining hall, where Naruto saw Lady Phoenix sitting down at one end of the table. The blonde Nephilim walked over and sat opposite her. Thank you, Hanako, would you please fetch my daughter? Questioned Lady Phoenix, looking to the maid behind Naruto, who nodded before leaving the room. Naruto-san, said Lady Phoenix, drawing his attention, which had wandered during her talk with the maid, back to her. Yes, Phoenix-sama, said Naruto. Would you please promise me that you will look after my baby girl? Said Lady Phoenix with an almost pleading look on her face. I promise to look after her even if this experimental time leads to nothing, said Naruto. That's all I ask, declared Lady Phoenix before she lifted a cup of tea to her mouth and began to drink. Lady Phoenix, may I ask you a question? Spoke Naruto. The woman herself let out a hum, indicating she was listening. Do you know why my fire is blue? Asked Naruto. Lady Phoenix put her cup down before sighing. Yes, Naruto-san, I do know why. It is a trait unique to the direct descendants of the first Phoenix. The blue fire was first gifted to mortals directly from the Phoenix. The fires are only manipulable by its creator, are hotter than holy flames, even those of Amaterasu, and can even be used to block holy spells, said Lady Phoenix. I don't quite understand. If that's the case, then how come your family doesn't possess these flames? Asked Naruto. Because the Phoenix brought humans into their clan and the flames were weakened by the process, said a voice from behind Naruto. He turned to see Revel walking into the room. Okay, I thank you both for the clarification, said Naruto. Are you ready to leave, Naruto-kun? Asked Revel. Before we do, I want to lay down some ground rules, said Naruto, getting a nod from Revel. Okay, first of all, you are not my wife, nor even my friend, not yet, so don't act like it. You are not a maid, so please don't act like it. Next, my peerage is as important to me as family. That means when we're all together, you're just another member of my peerage, so do not, and I mean do not treat them like dirt, or any chance of the engagement happening goes out the window, and if you don't even wish to try then say so now because if you're not going to put in any effort then there is no point behind this, declared Naruto. I accept these rules and I am going to be putting effort into this, declared Ravel, a small blush on her face. Okay then, we can go, said Naruto, turning around. Ravel turned to her mother, who just nodded in the direction of Naruto. Bye, mother, said Ravel before jogging to catch up to Naruto. Naruto walked through the halls of Gremory Castle, Ravel following him. The two had just got back from Phoenix Castle. The trip over had been silent now. They were just looking for his peerage so they could go to the overworld. Something I forgot to mention, Ravel, is I already have a girlfriend, said Naruto. I understand, Naruto-sama. I will try not to ruin your relationship, said Ravel respectfully. Naruto wasn't sure if he liked her talking like that, so he let it slide for now. The two devils walked through the halls headed for the lounge room where Naruto had instructed his peerage to wait. Walking into the, Naruto saw that everyone was there. Oh, Naruto-kun, spoke Kuroka until she spotted the girl following her boyfriend, and her eyes narrowed. Why is she here? Questioned Tenten, spitting the word she like it had the foulest taste in the world, making the blonde-haired girl behind Naruto flinch. Lord Gremory entered me into an altered engagement with her, said Naruto, getting gasps from his peerage minus Niji, who was just looking confused. She will be with us for a few months at minimum, and I want everyone to get along. She has been given ground rules, now I'm giving you lot a set, declared Naruto, shocking Ravel, who didn't think he would stand up for her even if, to be perfectly honest, she didn't deserve it. She isn't anyone's friend at this point, that has been made clear, but that does not give you the right to treat her like dirt. Yes, she's Razor's sister, but that what she is his sister. From what I understand, she didn't even do anything in the raiding game against Rias. I'm not saying you all have to forgive her right now, but you at least have to try and get along, declared Naruto, getting a begrudging nod from his peerage, excluding Niji, who was still watching on confused. Niji will catch you up on the situation in a bit, okay? Questioned Naruto, looking to the Hyuga among his peerage, getting a nod from the former fate-obsessed boy. Alright everyone, we're heading to the overworld, said Naruto, walking out of the room, his peerage in tow. Overworld. Naruto and his peerage stepped out of the teleportation ring, which had apparently dropped them in the middle of a park. Thankfully it was night. Naruto looked around, making sure no one was there before pulling out a piece of paper with the address of the house Lord Gremory had provided him with. Having had a small amount of time to briefly look at a map of the area when he was given the paper, he began walking in the general direction of the address on the paper. His peerage followed him as he walked, probably wanting to know where he was staying in case they needed to see him. I want to say this can't be right, but I'd be lying, said Naruto, looking up at the house at the address on the piece of paper. The house was 6 floors tall and about 3 standard houses wide. Niji was the only one who was looking on in somewhat of shock. Naruto walked up to the door, and using the key that he had also been given, he unlocked the door and walked inside. Hello, Naruto-sama, came a familiar voice. Grafia-chan? Questioned Naruto, spotting the silver-haired maid. Good evening, Naruto-sama, said Grafia. What are you doing here? Asked Naruto, confused. Lord Gremory-sama wanted to have maids here but knew you wouldn't like having them here, so he decided to assign only one, me, said Grafia, looking at Naruto, who sighed. Where are the bedrooms? Asked Naruto. Upstairs, declared Grafia. Naruto nodded before walking over to the large staircase and going up it. Anyone staying, pick a bed and fall in it, declared Naruto as he disappeared from view. Walking along a hallway, Naruto sighed. He'd had enough of this day, and opening the first door on his left, he found it to be a bedroom, just like Grafia said. Dropping his trench coat lazily on the floor, where it was quickly joined by his shirt and pants, leaving the blonde clad only in his boxers, he walked over to the large bed in the center of the room before falling face first into the pillow. He rolled over and slid under the covers before he heard his door opened. Lazily looking up, Naruto saw Kuroka standing there looking at him. Do you mind if I join you tonight? Asked the Nikomata. Plenty of room, Nikoheim, declared Naruto tiredly, before he heard the telltale signs of clothes falling to the ground and the weight of the bed shift as Kuroka climbed on and slipped under the covers next to Naruto, who reached out and pulled the black-haired Nikomata close to him in a tight hug. I love you, Kuroka-chan, muttered Naruto, kissing her neck. She then shifted in his grip, turning to face him before planting her own kiss on his cheeks. I love you too, Naruto-kun, said Kuroka. The two stayed in that position, hugging each other, close faces in the crooks of the other's neck, until sleep claimed their tired bodies. Next morning, Naruto woke up with Kuroka in his arms. He smiled at the girl before planting a gentle kiss on her cheek. Morning, Naruto-kun, muttered Kuroka sleepily as her eyes fluttered open. Morning, Kuroka-chan, whispered Naruto, hugging the girl tightly. Both were interrupted from their thoughts when the door was opened. Good morning, Naruto-sama. Kuroka-chan, I have school uniforms for you here and breakfast is down in the dining room, said Graphia, walking into the room, placing two piles of clothing on the end of the bed the two shared. Thanks, Graphia, said Naruto, looking up at the maid. You should get up soon, otherwise you'll be late, declared Graphia before turning around, walking out of the room. Naruto and Kuroka stayed like they were for a moment before Naruto rolled over with a sigh. Time to get up, I guess, said Naruto, swinging his legs out of the bed, rubbing his eyes. I guess, muttered Kuroka as she got up as well. Naruto walked to one of the other doors in the room, opening it up revealed a bathroom. Bathroom here if you want to shower, Kuroka-chan, said Naruto. What about you? Asked Kuroka. If you want to go first, I'll go and eat, if not, I'll shower, said Naruto. I'll shower first, said Kuroka, moving to the bathroom. Naruto, scratching the back of his head, moved, still clad only in his boxers, out of his room. Walking down the stairs, Naruto moved to where he could smell food. Walking into the dining room, Naruto found Chiron, Ravel, Tenten, Niji, and Gaara there. The girls blushed seeing a shirtless Naruto. Morning, muttered Naruto, taking a seat, and began putting food on the plate in front of him. Morning, Naruto, muttered Gaara, nodding his head before going back to drinking his coffee. Good morning, Naruto-san, said Niji, eating a piece of bacon. Morning, Ototo, declared Tenten with a grin before she sculled a glass of orange juice. Morning, Naruto-sama, said Ravel, with a blush adorning her cheeks before she went back to eating her pancakes. Morning, Naruto-kun, said Chiron quietly before quickly eating an egg. Everyone ate in relative silence. That was until about halfway through, when Kuroka walked in telling Naruto the shower was free. At that point, Naruto quickly finished eating before heading to have a shower. 20 minutes later. Naruto walked down the stairs once more. Now he had on the Koa Academy uniform, the dark blue pants, the white button-down shirt which was left open with his orange shirt on underneath, and then over the top he wore his black trench coat. His cross necklace was hanging around his neck. The blonde Nephilim walked into the main hall, finding Kuroka, Chiron, Gaara, and Tenten all also sporting the uniform. Well, let's go, declared Naruto, walking out the door, his bag in hand. The four others quickly followed. See you three later, yelled Naruto into the house before closing the door. Naruto and his four peerage members walked toward Koa Academy in relative silence, Naruto walking while holding Kuroka's hand while she leaned close to him. Hey Rias, called Naruto, waving to the red-haired Gremry heiress when he saw her walking towards Koa with her own peerage. Naruto-kun, hey, said Rias, turning to the blonde when she heard her name. So when did you guys get back? Asked Rias, hugging Naruto much to Kuroka's displeasure. We got back late last night, said Naruto, letting go of Rias as she stepped back. So you're finally going to fulfill that promise you made to me? Questioned Rias. Of course, I'm Naruto Uzumaki and I never break a promise, said Naruto with a grin as the two groups merged into one and began walking towards the academy. So Kuroka-senpai, Naruto-senpai, you two seem closer than last time we saw you, said Kiba. Yes, well, Naruto and I are going out now, said Kuroka, hugging Naruto's arm between her breasts, her comment shocking Rias' peerage but none more than Rias herself. When did that happen? Asked Akino, who was walking next to Gaara while also sending worried glances at Rias. About halfway through last week, declared Naruto. Rias narrowed her eyes at Kuroka, who stuck her tongue out. Rias huffed before walking away. The large group of people walked through the gates of Koa, upon which they all began hearing hushed voices from all around. Is that blonde one him? That bastard, who does he think he is walking with? Kuroka-sama, Rias-sama, Akino-sama, and Chiron-sama. Is that him? He's hot. That's got to be that new transfer student. I wonder why he wasn't here last week. How dare he walk with Kuroka-sama, Rias-sama, Akino-sama, and Chiron-sama? Look at those whisker marks, he looks so exotic. Naruto rolled his eyes at all of the whispering going around. Evidently Rias, Akino, Kuroka, and Chiron had quite the school following which was going to turn on him for walking with them apparently. Naruto walked with his friends into the school building. It's nice to see you again, Naruto-san, said a voice from behind him as he walked down a hall. As it is to see you, Sona, said Naruto, turning to face the girl who stood with another girl. The second girl was a bespectacled woman with long straight black hair that extended all the way down to her knees, with split bangs and heterochromic eyes, with a violet left eye and a light brown right eye. This was Tsubaki Shinra, Sona's queen. It's also nice to see you actually joining us this week, said Sona with a raised eyebrow. There were a few things I needed to take care of at home, said Naruto, narrowing his eyes a bit. Oh, my apologies, I was just curious, said Sona, stepping back. It's okay, Sona, said Naruto. Not enough to walk with Rie-sama, he has to talk with Sona-sama. How dare he talk with Sona-sama and Tsubaki-sama? Naruto sent sideways glances as he heard more voices whispering about him. Evidently he had very popular friends. Just ignore them, Naruto-kun, we all do, said Rias before she began walking away once more. The group of Rias' peerage plus Naruto's peerage and the tag-alongs of Sona and Tsubaki walked up the stairs, people splitting off when their classroom was passed. Naruto knew which room he was in but wasn't sure where it was, so he just followed his friends. As it turned out, he was in the same room as Rias, Kuroka, Akino and Gaara. Several hours later, Naruto walked into the occult research clubrooms. It was lunchtime. He and the devils of either his own peerage and Rias's peerage were in the clubrooms just hanging out. Rias had told them that she needed to speak with them all at lunch. Naruto had spent his recess exploring the school grounds, finding everything he needed to know where it was. Naruto was running just a little late, having been held back by a teacher who wanted to talk with him about his studies. Walking into the clubroom, he found Issei, Asia and Chiron on one sofa in front of a table, with Gaara and Akino on the opposite sofa with Akino leaning on Gaara. Kiba was leaning against the wall. Kuroka had a sofa all to herself where she was lazily laying. Tenten was leaning on a desk, and seated behind said desk was Rias. Hello, Naruto-kun, spoke Rias. Naruto nodded to his friend. You said earlier you wished to speak with all of us? Questioned Naruto. Sona informed me that yesterday she was contacted by members of the church wishing to speak with the devils in this area, declared Rias, shocking everyone in the room. Did she say what they wanted? Asked Naruto. No, evidently they would rather speak in person regarding that matter, declared Rias. When? Asked Naruto, narrowing his eyes. This afternoon here. You, me and Sona will be talking with them, but given they said they wanted to speak with the devils in the area, it's probably a good idea for our peerages to be here too, declared Rias, looking at the other devils in the room who nodded. With the serious talk over, Naruto turned to Gaara. So Gaara, you and Akino, huh? Said Naruto with a raised eyebrow and a smirk. Both of them blushed a bit. So? Questioned Gaara. Oh, nothing, I was just making sure. Good for the two of you, said Naruto with a smile. Gaara let a small smile cross his face, as did Akino. Naruto then walked over to Kuroka, who was still sitting up. He sat down next to the black-haired girl, who then proceeded to lay back down her head in his lap. Naruto began to run his hand through Kuroka's hair, making the cat girl purr. Several hours later, once again Naruto was walking towards the occult research clubhouse. School had ended about 10 minutes ago. He had once more been held back by a teacher who was asking about his studies. Walking into the clubhouse, Naruto sighed as he sensed the individuals in the room. It had to be those two, didn't it? Muttered Naruto as he walked towards the room. If need be, we will destroy you all, declared a female voice from inside the room. Evidently they had started without him. That I would like to see Zenobia, said Naruto as he opened the door and stepped inside. You, growled the blue-haired exorcist before both exorcists jumped up and charged at Naruto. Acting quickly, Naruto unsealed the laster from the seal on his left hand while simultaneously creating a blade of light in his right hand. Bringing these two weapons up, Naruto blocked strikes from the two exorcists' Excalibur fragments. Naruto channeled his new Yukai to his eyes, making them go blood red. SIT down, ordered Naruto, his 4 pairs of wings flaring out with the order. The two girls began shaking before they backed up. Naruto let his light weapon vanish along with his wings as he walked over and plopped himself down on the couch between Rias and Sona. Well, are we going to finish this meeting, or did I walk in just as it was ending? Questioned Naruto. These two were just telling us that the fallen angels have stolen 3 fragments of Excalibur and were trying to threaten us into not joining the fray, said Sona, adjusting her glasses. Naruto raised a brow, looking at the girl before looking to the two still shivering exorcists. Get up, you two, ordered Naruto, snapping the two of them out of their trances. So do we have your word that you will not interfere? Questioned Zenobia, stepping back over to the couch. Rias and Sona both went to speak, only for Naruto to beat both of them to the punch. No, declared Naruto. What? Questioned everyone in the room, looking at Naruto. No, we will make no such promise. There is only the smallest chance those fallen angels won't come after us. Next thing anyone with any emotional awareness could tell someone in this room would rather die than let this opportunity regarding the Excalibur fragments pass for whatever it is he wants to do with them, said Naruto, casting a glance back at Yuto, who he could see even out of the corner of his eyes was glaring at the Excalibur blades and their wielders. And hell, what's to say you don't turn on us once you have all 5 of the Excalibur fragments here? Questioned Naruto. Zenobia was about to speak up until Naruto once more interrupted her. You do, however, have our word that we won't actively interfere with your investigation, said Naruto. That's good enough, let's go, Irina, said Zenobia, standing up. Both girls stood up and began moving over to door until Zenobia looked at Asia. I've been wondering since visiting Highschool DxD's home, are you Asia Argento? Questioned Zenobia, her eyes narrowing at the blonde. Why yes, stuttered Asia, confused. I never thought I'd see a witch here, declared Zenobia, only for her to in the blink of an eye have the blade of Alaster at her throat. Call her a witch again, I fucking dare you, growled Naruto. What do you care, she's not even your witch? Questioned Zenobia, only to have her legs swept out from under her, making her fall to the ground on her, but with an eep and a wince. When she opened her eyes, she didn't see Naruto anymore. Because she's my friend, I don't need another reason, and you so much as even blink at her funny, and you can kiss your head goodbye, whispered Naruto from next to Zenobia. It was at this point the blue-haired girl noticed she was in a bladed headlock. Naruto resealed his blade before standing back, letting Zenobia standing up. Is that a challenge? Questioned Zenobia, pulling out her sword. It is, but I will stand aside for one who wishes to fight you, right, Kiba? Questioned Naruto, turning to Kiba, getting a nod from the man. 2 against 1? That hardly seems fair, declared Irina. No, I believe there is another who wishes to test their mettle against that of Excalibur, right, Tetnane? Questioned Naruto, turning to the girl, who nodded. I believe we should take this outside, declared Naruto.